Everyone. Today is Monday, November 6, 2023. We'll now call the City Council regular meeting to order at 6:30 p.m. Item number 2, our roll call. We do have a quorum of council. Item number 3, we have our pledge will be led by Cub Scout Pack 1985. All right. Are you guys ready?
Okay. Okay. What do we need to say?
Speak into the microphone.
About what? Okay. The pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Yeah. All right. $19.85. All right. Thank you, guys.
Thank you.
Let's give them a round of applause. Come on, everybody. Cub Scout 1985. We also want to thank your parents. Thank you all for bringing them. All right. We have item number 4, a presentation and recognition for a proclamation recognizing Municipal Court Week during the week of November 6th through 10th, 2023. We have a presentation by Councilmember Jeffrey L. Boney.
How's everybody doing?
Great.
All right. Y'all can do better than that. How's everybody doing? Good. Good to see everybody. I'm here to honor the municipal courts on today. Some of you, maybe all of you, have had your time in a court somewhere in some shape, form, or fashion. Not necessarily in a criminal way, but in some shape, form, or fashion as a juror or whatever the case may be. So I want to bring up our City of Municipal Court team. If you could come on up so we can honor you. Let's give them a round of applause as they come. We have a phenomenal court team. They do a lot behind the scenes. And, of course, the individuals that spend their time in front of them, whether they're a resident of Missouri City or not, they try to make sure that everyone has a fair and equitable experience. And so we're excited to honor them on today. And so I'll read this proclamation. It's a little lengthy, but that's all right. We'll get through it. Whereas the Municipal Court of Missouri City serves a vital role in preserving public safety and promoting quality of life in Missouri City, Texas. And whereas more people come in personal contact with municipal courts than all other Texas courts combined, and public impression of the Texas judicial system is largely dependent upon the public's experience in municipal courts. And whereas municipal judges and court operations personnel have pledged to be ever mindful of their neutrality and impartiality, rendering equal service to all and conform to the standards set by the canons of judicial conduct. And whereas the City of Missouri City is committed to the notion that our legal system is based on the principle that an independent, fair, and competent judiciary will interpret and apply the laws that govern us, and that judges and court personnel should comply with the law and act in a manner that promotes public confidence in the integrity and impartiality of the judiciary. And whereas municipal judges and clerks continually strive to improve the administration of justice through participation in education programs, seminars, workshops, and the annual meetings of their state and local professional organizations. And whereas the City Council recognizes that the Constitution and laws of the state of Texas contain procedural safeguards in criminal cases for all defendants, including indigent defendants, and supports the Missouri City Municipal Court in complying with such legal requirements. Now, therefore, I, Jeffrey L. Boney, on behalf of Mayor Robin J. Allicat and of the City Council of Missouri City and the citizens of the City of Missouri City, do hereby proclaim November the 6th through the 10th, 2023 as Municipal Court Week in recognition of the fair and impartial justice offered to our citizens by the Municipal Court of Missouri City. Woo, that's a lot. Let's come on. Who you want to have?
Sandy, our newest one.
All right, Sandy. Welcome aboard. And I'd like my colleagues to come down and let's join our municipal court team. You never know when you're going to end up in forum, so you might want to come on down, y'all.
Next item is number 5. We have public comments. It's an opportunity for the public to address the City Council on any agenda items or concerns not on the agenda. Those wishing to speak must complete the comment form presented in the form to the City Secretary prior to beginning of the meeting and observe the 3-minute limit. So at first, because this is a public comment, I'm going to ask Cheryl Orloff to come up here and give that presentation. Cheryl, if you're here.
That will be Cheryl Orloff.
Cheryl, everybody else, Fondren Park. This is a public comments, but since there's a presentation, we're going to give them a little bit of extra time. So go ahead.
I don't want to use a microphone, do I have to? Several of us on the board are here tonight from Fondren Park subdivision. I don't want it shown yet. Jason, Anthony, will y'all please come up? She don't want to show them yet. On behalf of Fondren Park Board of Directors, we are donating to the park in Fondren Park, to the Parks Foundation, $150,000. This is the official check.
Does a picture taker need to get in that? Come on.
So give this to them. We give it to them. Okay.
Anybody?
Y'all want to come down and take a picture?
Sure. Before that, anyone want to explain what's happening?
Good evening, everyone.
Good evening.
My name is Anthony Snipes, and I currently serve as the president for the Missouri City Parks Foundation. And we're excited about this $150,000 because we've designated the East Hampton Circle Park as our #1 priority. So this week we've been meeting with foundations to hopefully establish a matching grant. So all contributions from the community, from the association, as well as private entities, we hope to expedite not a 5-year plan, plan, but a 1 or 2 year plan so we can start working to make that park a reality. I want to thank the mayor and city council for having the vision to purchase the plot that's there. Now we have to roll our sleeves up, put all hands on deck to make that park a reality for the kids in that community and the residents. So we're happy, Mayor. Thank you very much.
Sure. Where's our parks director? There he is.
I tried to hide.
Do we have anybody else from the Parks Department that's here? All right.
Mike Watson. Mr. Watson, as you approach the podium, please state your name and address for the record, and also please adhere to the 3-minute time limit.
No, certainly will yield back my time. Hi, I'm Michael Watson, 3018 Apple Valley Lane, Missouri City, 77459, precinct 2028. But I'm here as a former member of the 2021 Citizens Bond Committee and the Move Missouri Forward PAC. I came to ask for a status report on my 3 favorite projects. I see Mr. Snipes here. So the first is the Freedom Tree Park expansion. I know we've been working on it. Phillips 66 deeded back that easement. The second is the Stamo Park, which I pass almost by a daily basis. I see sidewalks and other things on Independence Drive being dug up, but I need to know what's happening in the Stamo, because I don't want to run into some more Little League parents and them to say again, I paid my fees, but my kids haven't been able to practice this summer, and that summer's 2024. And then the last thing, my favorite pet project, is in my own precinct, and that's the maintenance shed for Quail Valley. As we know from the back in the days of the bond committee, those pictures, that thing was falling in. So I just want to, every time I see the guys on their trucks and doing the hard work, I think about them. What if something happened to them? So I just want to put that out there, give y'all a month to pull it together, post it, but then the final thing, just for everybody on the DS to recall. On this day in 1968, Dr. Shirley Chisholm was elected the first African-American woman to Congress ever. Wow. Reconstruction, you name it. She was the first one. And by her election, we had then Geraldine Ferraro on the ticket in 72. Then after that, we were able to have Vice President Kamala Harris in the White House, which many of you have certainly can reach out to and call. So I just wanted to raise that and to give a toast to Dr. Shirley Chisholm. All right, and thank you all for being here.
Thank you.
And I yield back.
Portia Rose. Ms. Rose, please state your name and address for the record, and also please adhere to the 3-minute time limit.
My name is Portia Rose, 3158 La Quinta Drive, Missouri City, Texas, 77459. Do all the city council people have the pictures that I presented?
Yeah, we do.
Okay. It has been said that a picture is worth 1,000 words. 2 pictures, hence 2,000 words. One of the most horrific acts in this nation's history is the lynching of black men and pregnant black women. The bodies were left hanging from trees in plain view as a warning to other blacks who might dare to speak out against injustice and discrimination. Between 1882 and 1968, there were 4,743 documented lynchings in America. Texas was third behind Mississippi and Georgia with 493 documented lynchings. Considering this nation's history of lynching in general, and Texas in particular, Missouri City must amend its laws to include language which excludes as decorations, displays, or items which are historically offensive to any race or ethnicity. You know what I'm saying. This is Missouri City, the show me city. Missouri City must show this city, this county, this state, where it stands on this issue. Thank you very much for your time.
Thank you.
Nicholas Sear, or Sire, I'm sorry, Nicholas Sire. Please state your name and address for the record, and please adhere to the 3-minute time limit.
Nicholas Sire. I live at the Glen Lakes Division of Quail Valley. I'm here representing myself. At the last City Council meeting on October 16th, I encouraged City Council to be vigilant and vocal on behalf of the people of Missouri City because political powers continue to want to reduce the after-tax income to the people of Missouri City and concentrate that power outside of the city's jurisdiction, the jurisdiction of Missouri City Council. For those members of Missouri City government who have already voted this election cycle, I say thank you. For those who have not, I encourage you all to perform your duty and vote tomorrow, Tuesday, November 7th, 2023. Many people have and continue to fight for that right in the United States of America. There are valid reasons, in my opinion, to vote against the ballot items, several of them being the Mobility and Parks Bond, and those are published in local newspapers and social media. I encourage everyone to do their own independent research and not blindly follow other elected officials or special interest groups. On a different topic, I think it's important to pause and self-reflect on the city's current staffing. As we already know, the city continues to employ a deputy city manager, an assistant city manager number 1, and assistant city manager number 2. I encourage those 3 officials to be more proactive, boots on the ground, to gather more input about the needs of our community, whether they're community events, HOA meetings, or town hall events organized by the city, just to name a few. Those events should be free and unequivocally held in diverse areas to hear the good, the bad, and the ugly about our city. For example, I hear these recurring themes from my neighbors: vacancy of the police chief position and mandatory 12-hour shifts for our officers, systemic, ill-timed traffic lights, 40-year-old deteriorating streets and mud infrastructure, I'm thinking sewer lines and water lines, increased risks of floods in certain areas due to past decisions affecting the Brazos River, Oyster Creek, and Flatbank Creek, and unenforced code violations. I say this because there is a time capsule and a mural downstairs right in this building dedicated to the men and women who have made history here in Missouri City. And they continue to bring out the best of us, regardless of economic status, race, ethnicity, or religion. The point I'm trying to hit home is that the more you know about the past, the better prepared you are for the future. Thank you.
Lomia McGuinn.
Good evening. I'm Lomia McGuinn, I live at 414 Oyster Creek Village Drive. As you guys know, I've been in communication with many of you. I had an idea of what I was going to say, but I think the thing that you guys, because you guys already know the issue, you already know the drama, you know about the threat, you know about the harassment, but I think that you guys need to understand is the amount of times that the officers have come to the house. Maybe that number will help change your mind, or the amount of, or how quickly you guys are moving, because I don't think you guys really understand that. In the amount of 6 months, 120 calls or more have been made to the police department. I kid you not. Why? I don't know why. Because the noise continues, because nothing's being done, they're not being taken seriously. Y'all have kids. How many times do you threaten your kid and no action is followed up with that? They're gonna repeat the same offense, right? My kid is, my boss is a repeat offender because I threaten him all the time, but he still does it. So when you're threatening someone or you're going to provide warnings, nothing happens. You're going to continue the same behavior over and over again. What happened the last time we were here? A week later, things escalated. People were harassing us and taunting us on the levee. People were driving in front of my home, harassing us, threatening us. That escalated. I got a kid. How many times do I have to come up here to tell you guys about it? I met with Miss Crystal. She sat down with me. And Walter. And Walter, awesome guy. How many times? How many times? Tell me what needs to happen. Because our lives are now unsafe. We are being threatened. Our home is unsafe. And no one is taking it seriously. Actually, I'm lying. I take that back. Things are being changed slowly with our police department. But 120 times. Come on, y'all. This has to change. There has to be a wall. I get you guys are working on the noise ordinance, but that decibel level is not going to work. Something else is going on. Something else needs to happen in order for you guys to change that, because we are not protected in our home. And it's supposed to be our safe haven. It's supposed to be a place where my son is supposed to feel protected. You guys took that away when you allowed this business to go into that new retail spot. And it's not fair, and we shouldn't have to live this way. And you guys don't answer my emails, so I have to come up here every time, which is wrong, because you guys work for the community, but yet I don't hear any feedback. I don't hear anything. You guys need to do something about it. And I don't know how long it's going to take, but you guys need to respond quicker than what you have. Because on Sunday, an officer was called out there, and there was a priority call that was made. He had to go back and again come back 3 times for something to be done. 3. What's it going to take, people? Our officers, come on. They have other things to do than, answer to a noise ordinance. Thanks.
Kristen M. Please state your name and address for the record, and also please adhere to the 3-minute time limit.
Good evening. My name is Kristen Malone, and I'm excited to be here because typically I don't get to come. So I'm going to try to get my value tonight and speak twice, one on an agenda item and one now just in open comment. So first I'm going to address, which I think many of you know about this, but Halloween night. So it was incredible. In Quail Valley, we had thousands upon thousands of people. I got my steps in for the first night and the buzzer went off. So I was excited about that because I typically don't get them all in. Maybe I shouldn't tell you all that, but that's the truth. But it was dangerous. And so it was dangerous to the point beyond residents. It's beyond I think it's beyond the control of the neighborhood. And it needs city intervention and assistance. It's an exciting thing. It brings a lot of publicity to the area. I went to different parties across the city, and people were talking about coming to Missouri City. And they were going from Highland Village to various areas all over the place and expressing how beautiful and cool the city was. So it's an awesome thing, but the danger factor is serious. And with Christmas coming, it's going to be the same type of hype. And I just ask and implore you all to work together to provide some safety precautions for the residents, because there were emergency vehicles that could not get through. And thank God the people were okay, but it could have been a travesty. So that's that. Secondly, all right, I also serve on Fort Bend ISD School Board, and tomorrow is Election Day. As another fellow resident expressed. And so I just implore you all to vote, and anybody who's watching, please vote. And I ask, as a resident and honestly as a trustee too, because I legally get to do this, please vote for Prop A, the VATRE. It is going to support, number one, our teachers and our staff, every single staff member throughout the district, and they deserve these raises. They worked so hard through COVID to support our children and to provide the best education possible. And frankly, the retention rate's not the best. And we need to show our younger generation, too, that we value education and we value teachers, because the amount of teachers exiting public education versus coming in, there's a delta and there's a deficit. And it's time that our public stands up and supports education and teachers, because without quality education, without quality programs, what do we have? Because our economy depends on a healthy and strong education. So please, please, please get out and vote and support our school district and the education system right here in Fort Bend ISD. We are doing some amazing things in this district as far as having national merit scholars. Oh, time's up, but thank you and please vote.
Thank you.
Steve Bassett.
This is 5. I thought I signed up for 8. Do I go now, or? I thought I signed up for 8A, item 8A.
Yes, this is public comments, and so the conversations or discussions
Okay.
comments about 8A will be held during this portion.
Oh, during this portion.
Yes.
Okay. All right. Thank you. All right. So sorry about that. Okay. Well, let me get my act together here a bit. So I wanted to talk a little bit about, my name is Steve Bassett. I'm at David Searles, 1522 David Searles Drive in Sugar Land, Texas. I'm the Deputy Superintendent of the Fort Bend ISD. So regarding special use permit number 8, or for Harmony, let's just talk quickly about the potential loss of revenue for the city of Missouri City. It would permanently remove 28 acres, of prime, Highway 6 property from the tax roll. That would lead to the loss of substantial property revenue for the city, potentially amounting to millions of dollars of future revenue. It would be a drastic reduction of revenue for our district, a loss of nearly $13 million in critical funding. Within a 5-mile radius of this Harmony site, there's 22 schools. We have 22 schools there, with 7 located within the Missouri city limits. These schools serve over 20,000 Missouri City students. All of those students would be impacted by this loss of $13 million. The taxpayers of Missouri City have invested millions of dollars in constructing these campuses. Frankly, it's really a duplication of services and misuse of taxpayer funds if we're putting something so close to everything that we have, all right? And also, Middle School 16, whenever we put that in the bond of 2023, even when we put that in there, we had no idea where this Harmony site would be. They did submit as law, according to law, to TEA, and we get a copy of it, of their impact statement. And the only thing, is either intentionally misleading or it was wrong. They claimed that they would only have 600 students at this campus. Now they're saying 1,400, so it's more than double. They also said it was either going to be in Houston or Sugar Land. They didn't say Missouri City. And so we didn't know about this whenever we were putting this through our bond information. And so we did just get finished, approving the Middle School 16 site. So for $82 million, 4 miles from this site. So I talked about that. As far as, the meetings, it's been hard for us to be at all these meetings because our board meetings are also on Monday, and we actually have a board meeting tonight, but you're going to hear from other people that are with the district that would usually be at that meeting, but because this is so important, we really feel like this is where we need to be. But as far as that $1 million, the equivalent for us losing 13 is the equivalent for Missouri City losing $1 million. So think about this. If you had to lose $1 million all of a sudden, that would be about 6% of your police department budget, 7% of your fire budget, 15% of your public works budget, or your entire human resources group. Think about that. And so how would you make those adjustments? And I'm sure it would negatively impact the operations of the district, of your city, and also all the citizens. And so, we're going to have similar impact with us if you're talking about $13 million. So we're asking you that you vote no on this special use permit so our district will not be put in that position We don't want to make those cuts. It's bad for the city and bad for the district.
That does conclude
Thank you.
your time. Thank you. Paige Martin.
Good evening. My name is Paige Martin, and my address is 2702 Bermuda Dunes Drive, Missouri City, Texas, 77459. I may be one of the newest members of the community, and I moved here to Missouri City because I got a job at Fort Bend ISD as Associate General Counsel. For the last 10 years, I've been living inside the Loop in the Heights and living in the hustle and bustle of the inner Loop. And I got tired of it, and I wanted to move to a community that I could really invest in and feel like I was at home. I also want to improve my golf game, and I also needed a pool because it's so hot in the summer. So I moved to Quail Valley, and I'm so excited to be here. But I'm so really excited because of Fort Bend ISD. I love my job. I love these people. I mean, they are amazing. In fact, there are a couple of educators. As the Associate General Counsel, I deal with a number of legal issues on the campuses, and there are at least 4 people in here tonight that I've dealt with legal issues on the campuses, and I am always amazed at their commitment, at their dedication, their love for their students, their dedication to their job. They want to do the right thing. They want to educate students, and I just am glad to be a part of it. But before I came to Fort Bend ISD, I was a teacher attorney. I represented teachers against the district, so I switched sides. But I represented a number of charter school employees on the other side and was always discouraged when I was representing these charter school employees at how they expressed to me, the school doesn't support me. There's no training. There's no advancement. There's no check-in. How are you doing? And I was always saddened about that because our educators need so much support and so good supervision, training. But the other thing is my expertise is special education law. And I know that a lot of times families will leave public schools and say, oh, I can go to a charter school. It's smaller. I can get more one-to-one attention to my child with a disability. And what happens is, what I'm hearing from Fort Bend is they come back. They come back to the public school and they say, we couldn't get the kind of support we needed. Fort Bend ISD has an amazing special education program, a number of placements for students with all kinds of abilities and disabilities, a number of trained staff specifically for students with disabilities, and they are amazing. And we are underfunded. We need more support. And so I would love to see my new community rally around the schools we already have that are so great and are doing such a great job for the children in our community. And so I encourage you to vote against the special use permit. Thank you.
Lataventa Williams. Labonta. Thank you.
Right. Good evening.
Good evening.
All right. I'm Levante Williams, the principal of Hunters Glen Elementary School, located at 695 Independence Boulevard, Missouri City, Texas 77489. So I'm going to share with you some of the unique programmings that we have at Hunters Glen Elementary School to help support a strong literacy program on our campus. Now, we recognize that strong reading foundation is critical to student success. Since 2021, Hunters Glen has hosted one of 2 early literacy centers, or ELCs, in our district. Alongside strategic planning with campus and district leaders, parental and community and teacher support, our ELC model has had a tremendous impact on student achievement. I'm proud to say that at Hunters Glen, our state accountability score moved from a C to an A once the ELC opened. The highlights of our ELC program are that each classroom has a teacher of record and a support personnel member to assist with closing all of those academic gaps that we have. There are also additional instructional days specifically to enrich our students' learning experiences that were covered during the school year. The structure of the program allows for more literacy, math, and SEL support to prepare students that attend our campus for more than just what we do on a daily basis. It's open to not only our students, but also those that are part of our feeder pattern. Our students in the ELC program have made a tremendous amount of progress, yielding approximately 85% of the student population moving from one proficiency level to another according to our end of the year and beginning of the year BAS reading inventory screener. The same progress has been made in the content area of math alone. Closing the gap at the foundation level is preparing our students academically for a better tomorrow. As others have shared, approval of the SUP will mean Fort Bend will lose almost $13 million in funding. Loss of funding will impact programs like the ELC, which have tremendously benefited our students. Please remember the negative impact approving the SUP will have on Fort Bend ISD as well as Missouri City. Approving the SUP will not be good for Missouri City or Fort Bend, and I do encourage you to please vote no. Thank you for your time.
Thank you. Payon Talati.
Hi, I'm Payal Pandit Talati. I'm at 22 Rustic Crest Drive, Missouri City, Texas, 77459. I'm coming to you today as Executive Director for the Department of Collaborative Communities at Fort Bend ISD, but more importantly, as a resident of Missouri City and a parent of 2 children in our amazing schools. I'm a passionate citizen, and Fort Bend ISD has been able to provide a strong education for my kids. The focus of the Department of Collaborative Communities is to bring the community together. Community leaders like yourself sitting at the dais, members sitting behind me, principals, parents, interfaith, the entire community. We have an amazing community that comes in and supports our students through mentoring, reading with our students, providing resources, serving as career day speakers, and empowering our students for what is to come post-secondary. They fill the gaps. They help our teachers. And I can't stress the importance of what the community has done over the years for our school district. We strive for impact. Impact is what we breathe, we talk about, and community impact through the years of my time here at the district has been tremendous. With the building of Harmony, that community impact can diminish. Our families, our parents, I fear that. I fear that the impact that we have achieved so far will be diminished as a result. We also have a Shared Dreams program that provides temporary supports to our students that are in need. We're celebrating 35 years of existence as a true testament of community support. I invite you to attend. We're celebrating on Wednesday, November the 8th at 4 p.m. That is community, and we can't lose that support through the Harmony piece. And so I say that, I want to implore you to really think about this decision today because of the impacts that it can have not only on our campuses, our community, and everyone that lives in Missouri City. So thank you for your time today.
Thank you. Kennedy Smith.
Hi, my name is Kennedy Smith, and I'm an Elkins High School senior. I came to Elkins at 2020 during the height of COVID, and it might have seemed difficult to acclimate into the school and culture, but I found it best through clubs. I joined HOSA, or Health Occupation Students of America, virtually during my freshman year, and today I am the president of the organization. The clubs at Elkins, and my club specifically, have allowed me to develop invaluable leadership skills, bonding with my peers, and internships and scholarships via HOSA. HOSA specifically has provided me a place to explore my career interests. I speak to close friends and classmates and peers daily who benefit and attend the Elkins Engineering Academy. My classmates and I are provided with great opportunity through the FBISD academies. We are able to explore business, global studies, medicine, math, and science through these academies. I pride myself on our sports. I pride myself on our academic awards. I love being a Knight. I love being able to wear blue and go to football games and say that I go to this school. Sports, clubs, and diversity are things that I pride myself on that are threaded in the community and unite parents, students, and teachers alike. I urge you to vote no on the SUP to continue to provide the youth of Missouri City invaluable support the FBISD has provided me throughout my academic years. Thank you.
Thank you. Dr. Audra? Please state your name and address for the record, and also please adhere to the 3-minute time limit.
Good evening. My name is Dr. Kwabena Mensah, and I'm the Chief of Schools at Fort Bend ISD. Did you call for Kwabena Mensah? Kwabena Mensah?
No, Dr. Audra.
Oh, okay.
But that's fine.
You want me to go now instead?
Yes.
All right. Sorry, Audra. I was excited. Good evening, Mayor, Ellicott, and Council. My name is Dr. Kwabena Mensah. I'm Chief of Schools at Fort Bend ISD. I'm very happy to be here, and I want to thank you all for your service to the Missouri City community. Just like this esteemed board, we have a board that is governed in Fort Bend ISD that's elected by Missouri City residents, and they are in charge of shaping the vision and policies for our district. And with those decisions, our Missouri City residents, they have a say because of their vote. And they have a say in some of the decision-making that happens in our district. What's not the case in this situation, in this SUP, is that many of our Missouri City residents won't have a say in this new school. The purpose of public education is to educate all of our students. And with this Harmony School, all of our students in Missouri City won't be served. We have over 20,000 Missouri City students that we serve in Fort Bend ISD, and we serve each and every one of them. Every Missouri City student resident that comes, we serve them. Another thing that you will see in Harmony is that they state that they have a 100% graduation rate. And with that 100% graduation rate, that means that you can only graduate if you get an acceptance letter to a 4-year university. For us in Fort Bend ISD, I have the privilege of shaking over 6,000 students' hands when they graduate. So that means that of those 6,000 students and many of our Missouri City students that decide to go to the military, decide to get a trade, decide to do something different than get a 4-year university acceptance college letter, they wouldn't be able to shake our hands and we wouldn't be celebrating their great success. We have amazing educators in our district, and many of them you will hear from today. And so if we're going to take away those special moments from many students who have all these diverse interests that go to our schools, I think it would be tragic for our Missouri City residents. We also focus on our special education students. We serve so many special education students with all the diverse programming that we have in our district, and our Harmony counterparts don't have those. So many of those students won't have the same privileges to attend the Harmony schools and will most likely return back to our Fort Bend ISD schools. So we want to make sure that we encourage you to not go forward with this SUP because we feel it will be bad for Missouri City as well as bad for our partners at Fort Bend ISD. Well, thank you for your time.
Thank you. Dr. Audra Oud.
Good evening. Thank you for letting me speak with you this evening. I'm proud to serve as the principal of Quail Valley Middle School, and I'm also a proud citizen of Missouri City at 6303 Sienna Ranch Road, 77459. You've heard about some various programs in Fort Bend ISD. I want to tell you about one more. At Quail Valley, we're one of 15 middle schools in the district, stationed right in middle school in Missouri City in the Quail Valley area. Some of you have been to our school and seen some events there. And I want to tell you, we're sort of a microcosm of society in that half of our school comes from the neighborhood around Quail Valley, and half of our school is the enrollment from around the district with the Gifted and Talented Academy for Fort Bend ISD. So we bring students from all over Fort Bend ISD to educate them to go forth into the various academies and high schools in the district, and to go beyond that into universities throughout the nation and the state, and to be able to contribute as global citizens. I say that we're a microcosm. It's the best opportunity to be able to demonstrate what we can do in society when we come from different backgrounds and different cultures and various needs, and to be able to serve well together and learn together. Our students come together in fine arts and athletics. We have a strong fine arts program that is award-winning in choir, art, theater arts, band. We have a jazz band. We offer 3 years worth of Spanish language credit to students. And we also have career in tech, robotics, computer science. And without the funding that comes through the district and the staffing, we can't offer all of those things to our students. And so it's very important that we continue to offer that kind of choice to our students. Another unique thing about Quail Valley Middle School is that we offer about 40 student clubs and organizations. We believe very strongly in student voice. And so our staff can start clubs and organizations, but so can our students. And we have things all the way from the Harry Potter Club and knitting and crocheting, all the way through Science Olympiad and engineering and math counts and things that go all the way to state and national competition. In fact, we just had a young man that came out of Quail Valley into Elkins who was just recognized by the Texas House of Representatives for going all the way to nationals in the National History Day competition. So we're very proud of those things and the opportunity that this gives us to bring our community together and to help create global citizens who can go forth into the world and be able to contribute in large and small ways. I would encourage you to come out to some of our events and see the phenomenal ideas of our students that are generated through the interdisciplinary curriculum and the project-based learning that we have, because I think they could rival some of the scientists who currently exist today. We encourage you to vote no on the SUP and yes for student choice in Fort Bend ISD. Thank you.
Thank you. Dr. Mukos, or Ms. Courtney Mukos, sorry.
Good evening.
Good evening.
Thank you for letting me speak with you tonight. My name is Courtney Mucius, and I am the proud principal of Elkins High School, located at 7007 Knights Court. And how could I not be proud with students like Kennedy, that you already heard from tonight, and many, many others who attend Elkins High School. I'm speaking tonight because I want to share some of the great things happening at Elkins and how opening a competing high school nearby would negatively affect our school. Elkins has over 2,700 students and is located 8 minutes from the proposed Harmony site. Our funding and staffing are based on a per-pupil basis, so any loss of enrollment will result in our school losing funding. We will lose students and funding if this is allowed to open. Since 2010, Elkins has been home to Fort Bend ISD's Engineering Academy. The Academy is a unique STEM program that exposes students to robust academic courses to ensure they are ready for college coursework in engineering. Our Academy is open to all Fort Bend ISD students through an application process, and transportation is provided to and from the Academy, even if Elkins is not the home campus. We currently have 301 students in our Engineering Academy. Elkins has a proud academic record, and our graduating class of 2023 received over $17 million in scholarships. More recently, one of our students was highlighted in the local media for being one of the 2 students in the area invited to speak at the UN's International Day of Peace. Not only is Elkins strong academically and athletically, but we also excel in fine arts. There are many fantastic opportunities for students to express themselves theatrically, musically, and artistically. Recently, our band students participated in the all-region orchestra and percussion ensemble auditions. Elkins earned 11 of the possible 45 spots in the orchestra and was the highest number of any school in our region. Additionally, we had 5 percussionists make the percussion ensemble out of 10 possible spots. Students don't get to this level of performance and accomplishment without the opportunities provided by the Fine Arts Department in Fort Bend ISD in both the middle school and high school levels. Although this is my first year as the principal at Elkins, I've had the privilege to serve this community for over 7 years. I was the principal at First Colony Middle School before coming to Elkins. First Colony is a feeder school to Elkins, and I've witnessed firsthand all the outstanding programs, excellent academics, and opportunities for students to get involved in clubs and organizations. With that being said, I urge you strongly to vote no for the SUP. Thank you.
Angelica Morales.
Good evening, Mayor and Council. My name is Angelica Morales. I live at 4503 Habersham Court in Missouri City, and I'm here speaking as a Fort Bend parent and volunteer to encourage you to please vote no on the SUP for the Harmony Charter School. If the SUP is approved, it will not only result in the loss of $13 million in funding for our public schools, but it will also impact the sense of community that is such a vital part of our neighborhood schools. When we moved back to Texas 10 years ago, we chose Fort Bend because of the schools and the communities surrounding them. I've always been a volunteer in my children's schools, and I'm currently serving in the middle school and high school PTOs and the Engineering Academy Booster Club at Elkins High School. I've served with some of my fellow volunteers since our children were young, and knowing that my neighbors and I have common goals for the success of our schools has always been very important to me. I have loved serving the schools with my neighbors and friends and working together for our children. I feel that a charter school will dilute some of that sense of community and purpose to serve our children in our neighborhood schools. Our volunteers are important in the success of our schools, and so is the neighborhood involvement and investment. As an involved parent who has had a child attend the GT Academy at Quail Valley and currently has a senior at the Engineering Academy at Elkins, a charter school would also divert some of the wonderful and diverse students and parents and their families that my children and I have had the opportunity to know and learn from and learn with. That would be an incredible loss not only to our school, but to all of our programs. All of the programs of choice in FBISD, many of which are housed in Missouri City schools, including the Engineering Academy, are open to all FBISD students, and transportation is provided regardless of where the student lives in the district, giving our students wonderful opportunities within our FBISD community. A loss of some of these students to a charter school will not only have an impact in the amount of funding schools like Elkins receive, but it will also impact the FBISD programs of choice that are housed in Missouri City schools. It will affect our parents, our volunteers, our students, and all of our communities. So I urge you strongly to please vote no on the SUP. Thank you for your time.
Thank you.
As you call other people, I'd just like to make a point. We have about 15 people that needs to speak, so if we do 15 times 3 minutes, that's 45 minutes. So it's up to you. I can't stop you from speaking, taking your full 3 minutes, but if you want to come up and state your name, whether you're for or against, that would be greatly appreciated. So I just want to make that comment. But if you want to use your 3 full minutes, not a problem.
Laura Najarier.
Good evening. My name is Laura Najera, and I live in 2815 Double Lake Drive, Missouri City. I moved to Missouri. I am here as a parent in Fort Bend ISD. I moved to Missouri City after looking for a school district with many opportunities academically and athletically for my kids. I've been part of PTO at various levels, and since I'm involved, I would like to ask you to please vote no on the special use permit for the new Harmony schools. One of the many things I love about Elkins and the surrounding schools is that the kids know each other since they're in elementary school. You get to know the parents, and the sense of community is amazing. You see familiar faces everywhere, and you feel your kids are in a safe environment because you know the kids and the parents.
If you bring a Harmony School, there will be kids from various places driving to school, making the traffic situation worse since charter schools do not offer transportation. The loss of enrollment at Elkins will also result in less funding. We must remember that we pay taxes to give our students the best experiences in education and expose them to different programs. Fort Bend ISD has different academies that help students achieve their maximum potential while also giving them the sense of community. On top of the academies, Elkins High School has many different clubs where kids are inspired to learn and volunteer in the community. Those students will be great leaders. And last, I want to say that as an immigrant, families, neighbors become your family. So I think that's very important in Fort Bend ISD, the sense of community from all the different people. Thank you.
Thank you.
Sunny Walter.
Good evening, Mayor and Council. My name is Suni Walter, and I am an assistant principal at Elkins High School. I am also a former Fort Bend ISD student and a current resident of Missouri City. My address is 10211 East Crosby Lane. I just wanted to share with you a couple of experiences that I had as a Fort Bend ISD student. We want to make sure that we maintain those opportunities so that we don't lose enrollment at Elkins High School and thus lose funding. One of the two elementary schools that I attended was E.A. Jones Elementary, and then I also went to Hunters Glen Elementary, where I was a very proud member of the 5th grade graduating class, the first class at Hunters Glen. I also got some say in naming that mascot that's the owl, so that was fun. One of the other things that I enjoyed about being at Missouri City Schools is I went to Missouri City Junior High School. I had a tragedy that happened as a 4th grader where my mom passed away in a car accident, and it was then that the Missouri City community and my extended Fort Bend family really stepped in. We had counselors that were available and provided my sisters and me with resources that we needed on campus and in the community. We also had English teachers that gave us an outlet that really honed that ability to be able to write and talk about our emotions. We spent quite a bit of time right here at the Missouri City Library reading and making connections to the world around us. When we got to high school, my two sisters were a little bit older than me, and so we were at Willow Ridge, and there was no open house that you could go to without a spaghetti supper, where you had that $5 spaghetti supper at Mr. Glover's Commons. Those were the times where he hugged and shook hands with hundreds of parents, looked them in their eyes, and really made us feel like we were wanted and connected to a very cohesive community. It's with those things in mind that my husband and I decided to move to Missouri City, raise our son in the school and the school districts where we grew up. Wanted to make sure that those kids and the kids that are around us, including our cousins, our family members, all went to the same elementary, middle, and high school. Our son had the opportunity to play baseball with the same kids that he was in class with, so that was a wonderful blessing for all of us to be able to be connected. One of our neighbors down the street ended up being his college roommate. So at this time, what I want to encourage you all to do is to consider the legacy that we have generationally in Fort Bend ISD, over 60 years of service and community and empowerment that we have allowed generations to have. Please vote no to the SUP so that we can maintain the quality accelerated programs that we have through all of the academies across the district. Thank you.
Thank you. Andre Robertson.
Good evening.
Good evening.
I speak in front of teachers and students all day, and I still get nervous being in front of you all. But thank you for allowing me to come in this evening. Good evening, Mayor. Good evening, City Council members. My name is Andre Robertson, and I'm the proud principal of Hightower High School, located at 3333 Hurricane Lane. Our school is 5 minutes away from the proposed Harmony School site and will be one of the campuses most impacted by the opening of this school. We currently have 2,500 students, and I want to share some things that could be impacted if this school opens. One of the things I like to always say about Hightower High School is that we're a triple threat campus. Triple threat meaning that we specialize in academics. Yes, sir.
y'all know that this is a public comment speaker. We have to respect the person who is speaking. So I would ask each of you to turn your phone off and hold your clap, because we're trying to get people in and out as fast as we can. So we really appreciate that. We want to hear from every single one of you. And if you can come up here and just say you are for it or against it, that would help. But if you don't want to do that, at least turn your phones off. Thank you. Go ahead, sir.
Yes, sir. Thank you. And like I was saying, that we're a triple threat campus, and we specialize in academics, fine arts, and athletics. And I'd like to encourage all of you to come out this weekend, as Hightower will be playing their first round playoff game on Friday at Mercer Stadium. So please come out and enjoy the community. I want you to get that community feel of what Hightower is all about. So please come on out and enjoy that time with us. But let's talk about STEM at Hightower High School. We currently have 2 academies with 174 students, which are the Digital Media and Medical Science Academies. We also offer the Pathways in Technology program that has over 200 students enrolled. All 3 of these programs of choice are science and technology focused that any high school student in Fort Bend ISD can take advantage of. And yes, transportation is provided. Our P-Tech Pathways in Technology with a medical focus program is unique because it offers students the opportunity to earn an associate's degree while earning their high school diploma, earn a 2-year post-secondary certificate or industry certifications, complete work-based training, and gain work experience through internships, apprenticeships, and other job training programs. Last year, we had 11 students graduate high school with an associate's degree, and 7 more receive a certification from the P-Tech program at Hightower, and it didn't cost any of our students or families a dime. Reducing our enrollment and funding will threaten those programs, depriving future students of these unique opportunities that are not offered by Harmony. Approving the SUP will not be good for Missouri City, will not be good for Hightower High School, and I encourage you to vote no. Thank you for your time.
Thank you. Cornelius Anthony.
Good evening, everyone. My name is Cornelius Anthony. I reside at 1507 Mammoth Springs Lane, Richmond, Texas, 77469. Although that is a Richmond address, I am a proud native Missouri City Texan. I want to focus on 2 things here tonight. I'm also the head football coach and campus athletic coordinator at Hightower High School. But I want to focus on 2 things here tonight. The first one, Dr. Bassett said it, and he talked about redundancy. From the standpoint of, I want to encourage you all to vote no against the special use permit. From the standpoint of everything that our citizens in Missouri City need, you can find it in FBI ISD and Fort Bend Independent School District. You can find it. There's no reason for us to have the Harmony in Missouri City from the standpoint that everything, as you alluded to or heard from the previous speakers, what we offer at Hightower, what they offer at Elkins, the students who came up here, everything that we need in our city, in Missouri City, you can get it in our school, in our public school system, in public school district. Another thing I want to talk about is legacy. One of my colleagues who came up here, I think we probably went to school together because I also went to Hunters Glen Elementary and went to Missouri City Junior High, but I'm a proud graduate of Elkins High School, class of 96. And so one of the things that brought me back into the community that I grew up in is because of my experience at Elkins High School, the rich, diverse experience. Enabled me to be blessed to earn a football scholarship at Texas A&M, equipped me to be able to strive and thrive and succeed at Texas A&M, all because of everything that I learned, everything that I gathered, and the experiences that I had at Elkins High School, to be able to play professional football and to be able to come back to the city and the district that made me who I am, and be able to impart those lessons and those things to those students. I just want to implore upon you guys, please vote no against this from the standpoint of when one of the board members talked about retention and how hard it is for us to keep good teachers and coaches, and for us to allow this and to cut $13 million of Missouri City taxpayer dollars it would be a travesty. Again, we have everything that we need in Fort Bend ISD, and I just want us to think about that when you guys make that vote, and I'm firm on voting against the special use permit. Thank you for your time.
Thank you.
Chief Sanders.
Good evening, Mayor and Council. My name is Dr. Ogechi Waga Sanders. I am proud principal of the Thurgood Marshall High School, 1220 Buffalo Run, 77489. I have worked with you all closely, many of you, for the past 5 years. And as your neighbor, I want you to be aware of what the loss of almost $13 million in revenue would be to Fort Bend ISD and Marshall. Moreover, I want to explain, upon my arrival at Marshall, I served about 1,100 students. Now we serve close to 1,700 students. And that's been done through programming. We offer fine arts, athletics. We have a specialized piano tech program. We have an early college high school, and we offer various CTE certifications in our Career and Technology Center. We help students discover their passions and their talents. When we talk specifically about early college, our high school students are afforded an early college high school degree and 60 college credit hours. We have about 400 students being served in this program, and they walk away with their associate's degree. They develop the skills needed for post-secondary readiness. The coursework the students earn is college tuition free. The books are free. Last year, we graduated over 50 students with their associate's degrees and their high school diplomas from the Houston Community College. So we are proud of the work that we do at Marshall. Moreover, when we talk about programs, we offer a sense of belonging and a connectedness to the community at large. When we talk about reducing enrollment for Fort Bend, that threatens these programs. It deprives our future students of these unique opportunities that we have at Marshall, and we know that Harmony does not offer. Moreover, our students need community. They need the support that our neighborhood schools offer. It's a very confusing world, and our kids need us. And I hope that you all take into consideration everything that everyone has discussed this evening, because it is very much detrimental to what we do at Fort Bend. And so I hope that you all take into account what's been discussed and understand that approving this SUP will not be good for Missouri City, and in turn will not be good for Marshall High School. And I encourage you all to say no to this particular vote. I thank you all so much for your continued support.
Thank you. Jennifer Chadwick.
Good evening. My name is Jennifer Chadwick. I am the Director of Social Emotional Learning and Enrichment Programs in Fort Bend ISD. I'm here tonight to share with you the incredible programs that Fort Bend ISD offers in Missouri City, which could be impacted by the approval of a Harmony school in our community. Fort Bend ISD takes pride in providing a wide range of educational opportunities to our students. We offer 10 high school programs of choice and a middle school academy, many of which you've heard about already. All of these students in our districts that attend these programs are at no cost to the families. We currently have 2,333 students from across our district that are benefiting from these. To ensure they have access to these programs, we provide free transportation to the various school sites that host our programs, ensuring that geography is not a barrier to educational choice. Of the 10 programs of choice, 7 are located in Missouri City, specifically at Elkins, Marshall, Willow Ridge, Hightower, and Quail Valley Middle School, each offering a unique experience for our students. You've heard about Elkins High School and then engineering, and you've heard about Hightower and Medical Academy and digital media and a pathway in technology, and you've heard about Marshall High School with our piano tech program, our early college, and Willow Ridge also offers another P-Tech program. What's unique about the Marshall High School piano tech program, it is the only one in the world. our students leave with the ability to earn between $100 and $250 an hour at the age of 18. The early college and the pathway and technology schools allow students to earn an associate degree and an industry-based certification at no cost to the student or families. These programs are targeted at our economically disadvantaged students, our at-risk students, and our special education students. By participating in these programs, our students and families have the ability to save $5,000 minimum at HCC for 2 years. At U of H, $20,000 at no cost to the student or the family. And for some students and family, that's significant. It's an opportunity. Our 2 P-TECH programs offer students degrees in high-demand fields such as medical assistant, cybersecurity, and computer science, equipping them with the ability to walk out the door after high school and earn $60,000 a year starting pay. However, if you introduce these Harmony Charter Schools to Missouri City, this could put these programs in jeopardy, as it might divert nearly $13 million in vital funding that we rely on to provide these life-changing opportunities to our students. Fort Bend ISD is dedicated to providing a broad spectrum of educational opportunities, ensuring every child can pursue their interests and reach their full potential without the burden of financial constraints. The introduction of Harmony Charter School to Missouri City could endanger these opportunities and vital funding that makes them possible. It is crucial for our community to consider the impact of these decisions on the future of Fort Bend ISD students. Thank you.
Thank you. Dr. Shirley Rose Gilliam. Dr. Shirley Rose Gilliam.
Hello, and well, thank you everyone for allowing us to be here. And my name is Shirley Rose Gilliam, 3011 Bonnie Briar Drive, Missouri City, Texas, 77459, a proud Missouri City resident for the last 16 years. I am representing Fort Bend ISD as the Vice President of the Board of Trustees. What I had the first time that I came, I was going to read that again, and I'm not going to read that, because what I hear today, I need to talk from my heart. I hear sense of community and legacy over and over again. And as I was sitting and I'm thinking about, and I'm looking at this timer too, Mayor, because I'm going to get out of here before 3 minutes, I promise. I'm thinking about Shannon Rideout, who's the Assistant Athletic Director, Coach Penson, who is the head football coach at Woolridge High School, Nikki Roberts, who is the principal at Butcher Elementary, Stephanie Wooder, assistant principal at Palmer Elementary, Alan Aldridge, Coach Aldridge, one of my students also, Daniela and Dante Lewis. I'm thinking about all of the students that now are adults that came through our system and how they are still just truly impacted by this, by our residents, by our community. This is a great school district. And there is something when we have to say, there's something about the community and just being a part of it. I'm a 34-year educator, 25 of those years right here in Fort Bend ISD. Absolutely loved it. And I had to write them down so I could keep going. Woolridge High School. I was typing teacher. That's where I got most of my students. And it is just, and today, all I wanted to do was come back to Fort Bend ISD as as a trustee to assist and to help my students, the community, and the legacy that we have in Fort Bend ISD. I thank you all, and I am asking you to please vote no for this SUP. Please vote no. We want our students. We want to make sure that we have our families. We are a community, and we love it, and it's wonderful. Thank you.
Kristen Malone.
All right, thank you. Kristen Malone, 2123 South Fountain Valley Drive, Missouri City, Texas. First of all, thank you, Mayor. Thank you, Councilman, and I'll try to be brief. I am a proud graduate of elementary, middle school, and high school right here in Fort Bend County, or Fort Bend ISD. And now I'm serving on the Board of Trustees, last year as the president and now as a trustee, and it is a privilege to serve our great community. And I want to thank you for all of your dedication and heart and effort, because I know being a public servant, it takes a special heart to do so, and it matters. And you do this because of the people right here. I know that, and I know that about our trustees. And so as I was sitting here writing and typing and scrapping, I'm just going to scrap it all and tell you this, that you've heard from all of these wonderful educators. And I know there's wonderful people on the other side too. I get it. I think y'all are familiar with our budget cuts we made this last year. It was significant to the tune that now we're coming back to the voters asking for money. And now this would impact our budget by nearly $13 million. I have my daughter back here. I see other students back here who are in these programs. I see these staff members and these coaches and principals and counselors and Whole Food and you name it. The list goes on and on and on for the amount of services. This will impact us. This will hurt. This is going to hurt your neighbors. It's going to hurt kids in your communities, in my community. It is going to hurt my kids, whether it's interventions or programs or clubs. It's going to hurt their friends. And across the board, whether it's right here for my neighborhood or whether it's Sienna or if we're talking Hunters Glen, did y'all hear they went from a C to an A? A C to an A. We are making things happen, and they're not the only one who has gone from a C to an A. Look at the elementary schools and what they've done. I've got 53 seconds, so I can't go into that. But I'm telling you, progress is happening. As far as people talking about fiscal responsibility, we cut nearly $40 million. All of the money we're asking for tomorrow is for our staff and for the good work that they're doing. So I implore you to vote no to the SUP. Thank you.
Dr. Christy Whitbeck.
Good evening, Mayor and Council. I'm Dr. Christy Whitbeck, Superintendent, Fort Bend, and the good news for you is that I think I'm summarizing for us. And I do live at 20257 Sparrow Spur, Richmond, and I'm the proud superintendent. I do want to clarify something. First, we want to be very clear that we do not fear competition. As a matter of fact, Fort Bend ISD excels at competition. You just heard about playoffs. With our test scores, we have some of the highest scores of all large districts in the state of Texas. It is not about that. It is about an impact statement that was stated to be in Sugar Land or Houston and with 600 kids. And now it is located 4 minutes away from a school that our voters, 2 separate bonds, approved $82 million for a middle school. We don't appreciate it being in our backyard. And we encourage you to think that through as well. Can you imagine if Fort Bend ISD had a bond and said we were building a school right here in Missouri City, and then it passes and we say, oh, never mind, we're going to put it in new territory. That doesn't fly, and that's basically what just happened to us. I do want to remind you, 28 acres of prime real estate on Highway 6, a total value of $162 million in future tax rolls that will be eliminated for your constituents. And closing, I know you've heard a lot about choices, and so what I would say to you is think about harming 20,000 students' choices for one choice for 1,400 students. And so goes your local district, so goes your neighborhoods, and you are here to serve the very constituents that are out there with their property values. This is a lose-lose for Missouri City and a lose-lose for Fort Bend. I encourage you to vote no. Thank you so much.
Jeremy Eugene. Jeremy Eugene.
Hello, my name is Jeremy Eugene. I live at 3046 La Quinta Drive in Quail Valley. And Mayor, I'll take you up on your offer to just come up here and say I strongly suggest that you vote no on the SUP. And I just want to say thank you to Kennedy Smith for your comments earlier, and I want to support our students. Thank you.
Thank you. Lisa Prophet. Lisa Prophet.
So my name is Lisa Prophet Rao. I live at 7826 North Fork Hollow Lane in Richmond. You know, the beautiful thing about choice is that all can win. ISDs and charter schools where the children are the focus and not adult agendas. So it is true that Harmony wants to come to Missouri City, but this will not diminish the wonderful legacy that Fort Bend ISD has established. There are so many families that are wanting to be a part of Fort Bend, moving in every day. I don't know what the numbers are, but I bet you guys know what the numbers are. So I doubt that Harmony is going to even make a dent in taking any of the incoming growing numbers of students and families. They'll have a small portion of that. I have my own story. I came to Fort Bend from Louisiana. We escaped, 50-year-old desegregation cases. And I chose to come to Texas to be part of Fort Bend ISD and Sartarsha Middle School when my daughter was young. And everything was so wonderful with Fort Bend ISD until it wasn't. And my daughter was part of the academy, which we loved. She was part of the Global Studies Academy. I was on the Booster Club, and I helped develop the website that I believe that the Booster Club still uses. We loved Travis High School, and it was amazing. And then halfway through my daughter's junior year, we had to move to Bush High School. And that's where we saw, sorry, I'm trying not to get emotional, that's where we saw the full force of inequity in a school system that violated, that where it shouldn't have existed. And Brown versus the Board of Education was in place for a reason, and we saw the bad side of what happens with inequity. And so, and my daughter loved going to the culinary program. She was there for a year. We loved Fort Bend until it did not work for us anymore. And I work for Harmony because I believe in parent choice. And I believe that Harmony meets the needs and does an outstanding job of meeting students where they're at and listening to families and adjusting because they hear the community. And that's one of the beautiful things about charter schools is they get to do that. Thank you for your time.
Thank you.
Amin E.
Good evening. Thank you for your time. My name is Amin Elliott. I live at 4614 Sunrise Drive, Missouri City. I am real estate and construction manager at Harmony Public Schools. So I don't think I have enough time to talk about Harmony as a program, but ever since we applied for this zone change, I believe Mayor and members of council, you have plenty of information about Harmony. So let me just be more pragmatic and answer some of the concerns that have been pointed out earlier. Well, I gotta say this, Fort Bend schools are not bad. Then they don't have to be for Harmony to shine or any other school by any means. But this school that we are trying to build in Missouri City, it's for Missouri City residents that already chose to be in Harmony. This is over 14,000 applicants, and we are providing them with a school that they already chose. Rather, they would attend in other Harmony schools in different communities. That's from one side. I would like also to talk a little bit about some points that were pointed out earlier about the TIA. I don't think that those numbers or those statements are accurate. Our TIA was built in coordination with the city staff. There is going to be 650 students for the elementary school. The phase 2 is also subject to another approval. So we are not hiding numbers here or anything like that. In our last meeting, I think there were some comments about drainage study. Our team reached out to the City engineer provided him with a drainage study, and I think there's some minor comments, some minor requests of some clarifications, but no major comments in that regard. And I gotta say this, I do receive calls actually from people that are interested in a track adjacent to us. They are interested in that track because Harmony is providing utilities to an adjacent site. That's a plus for the city as well. This is another evidence that Harmony works hand in hand with the city of providing value, providing an additional choice for education, not a nuisance, not trying to take anything away from anybody else, and we're just trying to be an addition and asset to the city. So, and I retire my time. Thank you.
Marielle Malone.
Hi, my name is Marielle Malone. I live at 2123 South Fountain Valley Drive, Missouri City, Texas, 77459. I'm a student in Fort Bend ISD, and there are many amazing things at my schools. Students, teachers, academics, athletics, all the things. The money that would be used to go to Harmony would take away those things, which would not be good for everybody's education. Because I know a lot of my friends struggle with things in their homes, and those clubs help them, and they feel safe talking to those people. The money would take away from all of those things, and there are many amazing things. When I was in kindergarten, my family applied for a transfer, and I was able to go to a different school. That shows that there are many amazing schools in Fort Bend ISD that are different and they have better Sorry.
Okay, you're doing good. Doing good.
I did incredible at my elementary school, and now I'm doing great in middle school. And the teachers there are amazing, and yeah, thank you.
Great job.
Stephanie Brown.
Hello, everybody. Stephanie Brown, 1206 Blue Diamond Drive, Missouri City, Texas, 77489. And I promise I won't use all 3 minutes. I'm basically here because I heard that this meeting was going to take place tonight, so I had my daughter drop me off so I could say something about it. I hear everything that everybody's saying about not wanting Harmony here and the monies that will be taken away should it get built. And I just want to say to Fort Bend ISD, because I've been volunteering with Fort Bend ISD for over 25 years in the Marshall feeder pattern. That includes all elementaries, middle school, and high school. And you guys know my advocacy, my fight for my community schools. I love Missouri City, but I want to say to Fort Bend ISD, with all of the people that are against the charter school, I want to make sure that the same fight goes into making sure that there is equity all over the district, where when a charter school decides that they want to come to Missouri City, we have no fear because all of the schools are great. All of the students are being educated 100%. And I am not for or against, because I can't say that because I told my daughter I wouldn't. Hunters Glen was going through a lot back in the day. And I did take my daughter away and put her in Harmony, and it made a difference. And I brought her back to Missouri City Middle School. We have an amazing, amazing principal there now. He stood up and spoke. And if they tried to take him away, I'd probably stand in the middle of the street and just cry and shout and whatever. We have an amazing principal at Thurgood Marshall. We have a lot of programs and a lot of things going on. But I've had to fight, and I'm tired. And so I'm saying this publicly today because I want everybody to know that when it gets voted down, I want you guys to remember all of these conversations about how great Fort Bend ISD is, and hold them accountable to it. So the next time I say, hey, I don't want our schools to close, I need resources or whatever these students need, I need the backup from City Council because, hey, I thought I was in a school board meeting, not the City Council meeting, because that's all who's been speaking today. So I'm Stephanie Brown. I love Missouri City. I love Fort Bend ISD. Go Fort Bend ISD. But let's bring equity to all the students in all the schools all over Missouri City. Thank you.
Mr. Mayor, that does conclude public comments.
All right. Thank
Good
you.
job. We made it.
Thank you all. Thank you to City Secretary for handling and pronouncing all those names correctly, because I would have not probably done a great job. All right. Is there recognizing Councilmember Boney?
Yes, Mayor, thank you. I'd like to move item 9F before our consent agenda as the next item for consideration.
Is that your motion? Can you?
Yes, it is.
Oh. Second. All right, so there's a motion to move 9F by Councilmember Boney and seconded by Councilmember Clauser. And I see that two people signed up to speak. No?
No.
Okay. All right. Can we clear the? All right. So, seeing no one else, can we go ahead and vote?
The motion is unanimous.
All right. We're going to go to item number 9F.
A resolution of the City Council of the City of Missouri City, Texas, adopting a revised and restated comprehensive financial policy for the City of Missouri City, Texas, providing for repeal and providing for severability.
Okay, thank you. We have a presentation by Elena Portis, our Assistant City Manager.
Yes, good evening, Mayor and City Council.
Good evening.
This item is in regards to our comprehensive financial policy. This is something that is adopted periodically by the City Council. It's also included in our annual budget, and there are 3 updates that we would like to include within this update. We have first our fund balance policy update. We have within the policy the assigned fund balance. The changes at any fund balance in excess of 30% will be assigned to various categories. These categories include the Pavement Maintenance and Management Program, the Capital Replacement Reserves, and the Economic Development Initiatives. The PMMP is the program that funds our street maintenance. Any amount of our fund balance that exceeds the 30% requirement, 65% of that amount will be put into an assignment, an earmarked to be used for this program. For the capital replacement reserves, there will be 30% that's used. That would include categories including fleet replacement, IT replacement, facilities maintenance, public safety equipment, and others such as grant matches to be able to leverage other funding. We also have 5% that would be added for economic development initiatives. And so the first year, fiscal year 2023, after our audit, these calculations will be made. And in subsequent years, the allocation will change based on any expenditures that have been assigned, plus the incremental share of any increase or decrease to fund balance. The second change is our continuing disclosure. In order to remain compliant with continuing disclosure requirements per SEC Rule 15C212, the city will be required to report all transactions over $1 million. And so we're setting that so within our policy so that's the manner in which we'll operate. And the last item is under the section for revenue, the provision for ongoing review of revenue. We had the CPI at July to July, but when it comes to the budgeting process, those figures are not available, and so we're moving that to May. And that ends my presentation on the comprehensive financial policy.
Thank you. I see we have a motion by Councilmember Boney, second by Councilmember Riley. Recognizing Councilmember Boney.
Thank you, Mayor. I just wanted to thank my colleagues, Mayor Pro Tem Emery and Councilmember Maroulis. We serve on the Finance and Services Committee, and one of the things that was brought forth was relative to how we deal and handle the fund balance. We had a blanket number that was always set forth. I know Mayor Pro Tem always asked about, what we're going to be, or how we're going to handle the fund balance, as well as Councilmember Maroulis. So we diligently worked with our staff and team to put together something that would put reserves aside specifically for these particular items. So we have fleet replacement, IT replacement, facilities maintenance, public safety equipment, and other things. So these things can be maneuvered and adjusted at any time if we see the need to, but as opposed to just having an overage in our fund balance and not knowing exactly what to do with it, this gives us the ability to have anything in excess of 30% focused on things that the citizens need and want. We hear a lot about sidewalks. We hear a lot about streets. We hear a lot about the other various things that we need from a capital replacement standpoint, fleet maintenance with our police and things of that nature, and our fire. So this is a prime example of how we can use these dollars in a more strategic way. And thank you, City Manager, Elena, and the finance team for helping us kind of work through this. If you noticed out front walking in today, colleagues, you saw the pumper that came out of the fund balance that we came out with from our recommendation in looking at this. So this is a strategic and more focused way in us dealing with the overages in our fund balance. And I'm hopeful that it gains the support of all my colleagues.
All right, thank you. So I do have a few questions, Elena. First of all, this is great coming from Finance Committee, but I'd like for you to explain to me what is other grant match, 5%?
So this would be funds that are set aside to be able to leverage any grant funding that could be for capital replacement items or sidewalk or mobility projects. So this would be funds set aside if there's any applications that are presented to the council for any one-time items and it requires city funding, or maybe the dollar amount of the grant does not cover the full cost, we would be able to pull from these funds.
So if you didn't have this other grant match 5%, if there was a grant that comes through, what would you do?
We would have to come to council and ask for a budget amendment, or we'd have to look at our other sources of revenue or expenditures and make the necessary changes to be able to assist with that, as long as it's not some sort of a supplanting or other issue.
Okay, so when these grant matches do come, it comes before council, or is this, since this allocation of this 5%, is that automatically taken?
Grant applications come to council when it's required by the grantor, yes.
So I guess what I'm saying is the fleet replacement, 5%, IT is spelled out.
Mm-hmm.
So all of those still do come before council?
If we were to use anything from the capital replacement reserves, it would come to council because it requires a budget amendment. So they're not automatically appropriated for these purposes. It's just an earmark to know that those funds are available for that purpose. But any use would come to council.
Sure. So what happened to these earmarks if you don't use it? For example, fleet, I would say IT replacement, let's just to pick.
They will continue to grow. But that is also if we add to our fund balance. I know we've been in a situation where we have had additional sales tax, and we've also had vacancies that have added to our fund balance, but looking at the budget for fiscal year 2024, at that level, it will not continue. So any amount that's in addition to, that's like resources in excess of expenditures in future years will add to it, but it will not be at the level that it would initially be for fiscal year 2023.
Okay. One more question, and I'll yield it back, and there's other people that wants to talk. Do we have a grant application specialist that's working in the city today?
We have various employees that submit grant applications. We have them within our police department and in our public works department, and we do have an employee within our treasury department that assists with a lot of the reporting for grant applications. But we do have people within the departments that are responsible, but we also have a contract, I believe, in public works for a grant writer this year, but we don't have a specific position that's only for grants, such as the grant specialist.
I will yield back and recognizing Councilmember Maroulis.
Thank you, Mayor. Thank you, Councilmember Boney, for the overview of what we discussed. I also wanted to highlight what we've done with the Economic Development Initiative. So we don't participate in 4A and 4B. We participate in Metro. So this is a specific allocation to put into economic development to incentivize businesses that come to Missouri City, or in short, give Herman some money to play with. So I wanted to point that out, that this is something new, strategic, and really around growth. Going back to the mayor's question on other and grant match, what would prevent us not to be able to match public safety equipment under the public safety equipment bucket? Is there a legal term or is there legal boundaries that won't say that I can't match a grant under public safety? So if Chief comes up and says, I need a bulletproof vest, there's a grant, can I use the 5% from public safety? Mm-hmm. So then we don't really need this bucket.
The other. We can move that.
I don't mind having the other 5% for something, but I really think that other and the grant thing is a little too loose. And I would think that we would probably want to really be more specific. And those are my comments. Curious on what others would think.
Is that you?
That's it.
Okay. Mayor Pro Tem Memory.
Yes. First of all, can you just give an estimate? How much excess did we have over 30% that we're talking about when we look at the end of fiscal year 23?
At this point in time, I believe it's $13 million.
I'm sorry?
$13 million.
13 million?
Yes, sir.
So we're talking about some big dollars.
We are, for the initial funding of the reserves, yes, sir.
The second question is, when we look at the breakout of pavement, maintenance, capital replacement, and economic development, how did we determine how we wanted to put 65% into pavement maintenance? What was the thought process?
The thought process had to do with what the backlog is. And so we recognize that we have over $100 million in backlog for street maintenance, and that is of today. That number is going to continue to increase because our streets are getting older. So we felt the larger share of that should be dedicated to addressing the street maintenance issues that we have.
Okay. So basically what we're doing is we're looking at where our need is.
Yes.
Our most need, and obviously our pavement maintenance, and I'm not sure if sidewalks is included in this, but that's been a crying output from our citizens and from staff that we needed to do something about our deteriorating infrastructure.
Absolutely.
So, I just wanted to make sure that everyone involved knows how we arrived at that number, that it's basically the priority that we feel that is needed to get us up to speed, if you will.
And again, as was stated earlier, this is strategically allocating those funds to address those high priority needs that our residents have said is important to them based on the most recent survey that was done. And so we want to address the backlog as much as we possibly can. This year, 23, we ran out of funds in August, or probably earlier than that. And so we have the capacity to do more if we have the resources available. And so that's what we're trying to do.
Okay, and this is not just a one-time allocation of dollars. Next year, at the end of 24, we'll look at what our fund balance is and determine if there's in excess of 30%?
That's
and
correct.
we will then take those dollars and apply them to the same priorities, or can we change these priorities based on need?
We can change the priorities based on need, and I would say that's something that we would do annually, is revisit those priorities to ensure that they're still aligned with what our priorities are.
Okay. Well, I want to thank yourself and the staff and my cohorts on the financial committee, because this is something I've always kind of looked at. We had those dollars that were in excess of the. I think we have an ordinance that says that we have to keep it between 20 and 30%. So this way, we have the opportunity to return, if you will, this money back to the citizens based on these projects. Yeah. The excess in our general fund are excess dollars that we arrived at from citizens or businesses, sales tax or property tax or whatever it may be. So this is this is the citizens' money, and we're trying to return it in the best way that we possibly can to make an impact. So with that, again, I thank my colleagues on the Financial Services Committee and of course the staff to come up with this process, which I think is well needed, and I look forward to seeing it approved. Thank you.
Thank you. I put myself on the queue one more time. I hear everything that everybody's talking about. My vote will be yes if the other is removed. I think everything else is laid out here clear, which means that we have accessibility to go and tell our citizens exactly where this allocation is going. I don't feel comfortable with other, and then in parentheses that we put grand match. That's not allocation of this money. Should be. It should be spelled out just like everything else that's spelled out here. Because if that's the case, it's transparent, it's clear cut. We're spending money on or allocating to fleet replacement or IT replacement or facilities maintenance or wherever it is bucket is going. So if there's a motion that changes to removing the other out, if it is, then I support it. But if it's with other, I cannot support it. Thank you. I yield back. Councilmember Boney.
Thank you, Mayor. I totally hear the questions and comments. I just wanted to, in our initial conversation, just for clarity's sake, other was, I think, initially considered miscellaneous. It wasn't said other or grant match. This is kind of new, first time I'm saying that. But the reason that it was indicated to be miscellaneous in the event that something does not fit inside these buckets, that you would use those dollars. But I'm all for reallocating 5% as we see fit, whether it's evenly amongst the other four: fleet, IT, facilities maintenance, and public safety. Well, I guess can't do all 5%, but just say 1% to each, and then maybe 2% to one of the four. I'm all for that, and I'll modify my motion to indicate that if need be. But I just wanted to indicate also in the question that Mayor Pro Tem posed, we have the authority to change this. This is the first time ever this is being done. So we don't have this in place currently. This is a new fund balance policy as far as how we're addressing the excess of 30%. And I believe that to focus on those high priority items, such as pavement maintenance and management, et cetera, capital replacement. And it's really strategic to things that we see supplemental requests for all the time anyway. Fleet replacement, IT replacement, facilities maintenance, and public safety. We see on our agenda regularly we're having to make a decision on new items and requests that are coming from many of these departments. So, if it's okay with the body, if we're in agreement, I'll just say 6% for fleet replacement, 6% for IT replacement. Sorry, technology team, IT team. 2% additional, so 12% for facilities maintenance and 6% for public safety. Or
is that your motion?
Is everybody okay with that?
Wait, that's your new motion?
if everybody's okay with those figures.
Let me ask, is Councilmember Riley
Whatever
second?
you said.
Okay, if everybody's okay with those figures, all right, 6% fleet replacement, 6% IT replacement, 12% facilities maintenance, and 6% public safety equipment, and removing other grant match.
All right, thank you. Recognizing Councilmember Clausen.
Yes, I want to say thank you to my colleagues who serve on the Finance Committee. Many of you may or may not know, but not only do we serve on City Council, but we serve on 2 to 3 other committees, and those are other meetings. And so this is one of the toughest committees. I would have to say I served on it, and I'm not on it anymore. So thank y'all for for all the work that you do. But I did want to ask about the economic development initiatives. If you can provide an example, you have 5% allocated here. If you can provide an example of what an economic development initiative would look like.
I'll take that one. Basically, it's some of the initiatives that we are already providing. Keep in mind that the facade program that we have has limited resources. The patio program that we're just starting has limited resources. So really, it's looking at those plus others. And we wouldn't know until the developer comes before us to determine what those needs are. And then we would look to those resources as being a possibility to fund the gap.
So there are often times where developers come to us and say, do y'all have any incentives for
Exactly.
us? So would this be enough to allocate to spread evenly amongst projects with various developers outside of the facade program and the patio program?
For one, we would have to determine whether that project meets the city's strategic priorities for what we want to see. And then we would need to look at what will it take to have that project be cost valuable for the developer as well as for the city. And so it's one of those that is going to depend on each situation in terms of what that looks like. In some cases, we've heard utilities is an issue in terms of being able to fund that utility cost. Another case, it could be drainage, having to do that study. Until we have the project before us, we really will not know exactly what that incentive could look like. But we will try to make sure that each project is a standalone project and that it's going to have to meet the city's priorities in terms of what the project is, the location that the project is going to go into, and all of that will need to be flushed out before we start talking about how to allocate those resources.
Okay, thank you.
Recognizing Councilmember Brown Marshall.
Okay. Thank you so much, Mayor. Elena, I just had a couple of questions for you. Of the $13 million that we currently have in fund balance, what is the current amount in excess? Oh, the $13 million.
That is the amount in excess. Yes, ma'am.
That's the amount
Yes.
that's in total excess. And now that we've decided, or that we're about to decide that the $13 million will be spent according to these allocations, what happens if there's an emergency or if there's an opportunity that comes before the city and we need funds to do that? What happens?
We still have the 30%, and we also have a $1.5 million reserve for operational, unanticipated operational cost, and we have a $1.5 million emergency reserve, and that amount was set based on what we have experienced in the past with other disasters like Harvey. That has been what our costs are. So the funds are still available for those items.
Okay. And I wanted to, I also wanted to express thank you to the Finance Committee for finding a way to carve out economic development initiatives. This is really, really big. I can remember working on the Texas Parkway Cartwright Corridor Committee, and we were all excited about when that came out. And so now to finally see an umbrella that will continue that expansion, this is awesome. Thank you.
All right, thank you. Recognizing Mayor Pro Tem Emery.
Yeah, I would just want to make, if I could, a correction. While the Finance Committee, was heavily involved in this formula is the results of our city manager and our assistant city manager. So they're the ones who came up with this concept. We said, we've got extra dollars. How can we apply it? They came up with this. So all of the kudos go to staff. So thank you.
Thank you.
First class.
All right, so there's no one else in the queue, so I'm going to ask Councilmember Boney to repeat his motion again. Please.
I make a motion that we approve that we adopt the resolution for the city's comprehensive financial policy with the modifications that were indicated earlier. Do I need to state those, City Attorney? With the edits being fleet replacement 6%, IT replacement 6%, facilities maintenance 12%, and public safety equipment 6%, removing other.
Okay, so that's still your second, Councilmember.
second.
All right, let's go ahead and vote. All right, thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, everyone. How you want to take it back?
Do we want to do 8A now?
Recognizing Councilmember Brown Marshall.
Mayor, thank you so much. I would really like to ask my colleagues if they would entertain a motion to move item 8A, consideration and possible action on Harmony.
Second.
Thank you.
So I see a motion by Councilmember Brown Marshall, second by Councilmember Riley. All right. See no one else. Let's go ahead and vote.
The motion carries unanimously to move agenda item 8A to before the consent agenda.
All right, item number 8A.
An ordinance of the City of Missouri City, Texas, granting a specific use permit authorizing the use of a 28.37 acre tract of land in Missouri City as a specific use, place of assembly, educational facility, providing limitations, restrictions, and conditions on such specific use, amending the zoning district map of the City of Missouri City, providing for an amendment to the comprehensive plan, providing for repeal, providing a penalty, providing for severability, and containing other provisions relating to the subject.
All right, thank you. We have a presentation by Ejima Edwards.
Good evening, Council. We do not have a presentation tonight.
You don't have a presentation. Okay. Entertaining a motion. There's a motion by Councilmember Clauser. What is the motion? Is that you? Go ahead. No. What was your motion? Is it to adopt?
That's the way it's worded.
Okay. Is there a second? Second by Councilmember Morales. Okay. Is there anyone in the queue recognizing Councilmember Boney?
Yes, Mayor, thank you. I just wanted to ask Shashi, I know I did get an email from City Manager about the item, but I know last meeting we discussed this matter. One of my primary concerns, really my only primary concern, was the drainage issue, in that I know that I did speak to the people in that community who had no real issue with the actual type of development, but they did still have some level of concern about potential drainage issues. And so I know that the engineer or whoever the representative was last time said that they would get you the DIA drainage impact analysis. And so can you kind of give me a little brief overview of what you saw,
Yes, Council Member. Good evening, Mayor and Council. Since the last public hearing that you had, we have received the drainage impact analysis. Staff has reviewed it. Due to the sensitivity of this, we have had an outside consultant who supplements staff resources also review it. It has not been approved, but we're at a comfort level that the majority of the drainage concerns are addressed by the amount of detention that they're proposed. So staff feels fairly confident that any and all impacts arising from the development project will be mitigated based on their proposed drainage plan.
Thank you. And I just lastly, Mayor and colleagues and everyone listening, I believe for many, many years, for decades, the state legislature has woefully and inadequately funded our school districts across the state of Texas, especially Fort Bend ISD. And so I really strongly encourage our leaders in Austin to really do what they have to do to impact Fort Bend ISD in a more positive way, to get them the necessary resources to remain and continue to be more competitive to retain and recruit more students. Thank you.
Thank you. Recognizing Councilmember Brown Marshall.
Thank you, Mayor. I don't know if Councilman Boney jumped into my brain, but I echo the exact sentiments in which you have just stated. I truly believe that both Harmony and FBISD want the same thing. They want to educate the students. And I understand that it is definitely a tug, if you will, in order to get the funding that you both necessarily need that's afforded by the state. It just puts us in a peculiar position, or I'll speak for myself, to put myself in such a peculiar position when it comes down to the idea of zoning, because that's really what this case is more so about than anything. I wish the best of luck to both schools, and it's just tough. So we support you both.
All right. Seeing no one else on the queue, we have a motion by Councilmember Clauser and seconded by Councilmember Maroulis. Let's go ahead and vote.
Member Boney? The motion carries 5-2.
All right. Thank you. Now we're going to go back to item 6, consent agenda. Recognizing Councilmember Maroulis.
Yeah, Mayor, I'd like to pull items, I'd like to approve items 6A, B. I'll just wait till everyone leaves.
Yeah.
Can you say those again?
I was going to let it.
No, he's going to wait till I think there's.
All right. I want to pull items 6H and I and approve the remainder of the consent items.
H and I?
Yes.
Is that your motion?
That's my motion.
You put it in. Is there a second? Okay, so there's been a motion by Councilmember Maroulis, seconded by Councilmember Brown Marshall to remove item 6H and I.
Okay.
Okay. Seeing no. Oh, you're going to speak on it? Go ahead, sir.
Is there a presentation that staff can give us on this? Because, I understand the consulting service.
If I may, there should be a vote.
Well, yeah. That's what I was going to say.
Okay.
If I may.
So there's a motion and a second. Let's go ahead and vote.
We're voting
on to remove.
Correct.
The motion carries to approve consent agenda items A through O, with the exception of agenda items 6H and I.
Thank you.
Right.
Okay. May I?
Yes.
If you may.
Can we clear? Can we clear?
Okay. So is there a presentation that staff can provide? Because, I understand the consulting services. I understand it's as needed. I understand the 4-year. It looks like we have 2 vendors that are doing the same thing. So in my mind, I'm thinking it's really $880,000. And so I would like to look at maybe an inclusive report on how much we're outsourcing, because I think we also have Curtis Campbell doing fire and maybe some other. So it would be really good for all of us, I think, to understand how much we're outsourcing and then take a balance to say, is it an FTE? Is it time for another field engineer? Is it time for another FTE and maybe reduce our services or what? Because I'm kind of feeling like there's some things that I need to know more about this before I approve it.
Thank you. Question? You ill?
Yes.
All right. I do have a couple of questions. On 6H and I, Jennifer, first of all, what is this? What is 6H and I?
So these are third-party contracts, and so these are third-party that provide inspection and plan review services. So they offset staff resources as needed. So they do construction plan reviews, they do inspections, new commercial remodels, all of that.
Okay. So can you tell me what percentage of this service that we used the fiscal years that we just passed?
So in response to Councilmember Maroulis' question as well, So no, it's not 880,000 total. So on average, we're spending about 100,000 plus or more for third-party plan review services, 100,000 plus or minus more on inspection services. So of the two contractors that are before you, one provides about 65% of our plumbing inspections. So that's any water heater change, that's any plumbing feature, all of that. That requires the state licensed inspector. We currently have one state licensed inspector on staff. That's our building official. Our building official is reviewing all residential plans. Our building official last fiscal year reviewed over 2,000 plans. So what these services allow for is the ability for us to continue to respond. So we are continuing to work to improve our methods, all of that, but this is a tool that's needed in order to provide those responses.
So I'd go back to city manager. I think there's been twice that this city council had asked for reports in showing what we spent or similar to in this situation what we've done, and I haven't seen it. So I like to see. I want to believe you, and I'm not saying that you're not saying facts, but I like to see those numbers in crunch because this is $440,000 on one item for architect. Then you got another item that's going in also that's almost $1 million. So
it's a 4-year contract.
No, I understand that, but I want to see when we started this contract, I want to see each year what we spent. I like to see a slide to show that I know what I'm voting on. And I'm glad that you pulled this because this was probably one of my questions also. Not to say that that council is not looking to approve, but I think we owe it to our citizens to see that if we have these type of contracts as needed base, right? So you're bringing in a consultant or you're bringing in an architect because you're trying to keep up with how busy we are. So we want to make sure that each year per year, so I hope we're very clear on my part, want to see when we started this contract, however long we've been using this, and each year what we spend to our budget. So which means you're saying $100,000 per year, and I want to know what we spent, and you're asking for another 4 more years.
So we have the 4 years. What we're asking for is flexibility.
Flexibility in what?
So their contracts are already in place. We already have a 4-year. Well, it's a annual contract that's automatically renewed. If it's not severed by either party. What we're asking for is flexibility from year to year within that contract.
What do you mean by flexibility?
So flexibility, for instance, this last fiscal year, we saw Metro Park and Ride come in for a plan review. This coming fiscal year, we're going to see inspections once that Metro Park and Ride starts under construction. This last fiscal year, we saw 120 building plus multifamily development go through plan review. So we saw that on the plan review side. Next fiscal year after that, we're going to see it on the inspection side. So it's the flexibility that right now the contract is limited per year, split evenly across 4 years. The tool that we need is to be able to respond to that type of development within that 4-year contract. So it's not asking for any more money or anything like that.
I understand that. So help me understand, since you went there, why wouldn't you come back to the city manager or city council asking for additional staff rather than using money in a flex way? Because if you're getting those metros or the ones, I mean, we're not getting another metro. So, and you talk about multifamily. So multifamily, it comes and goes. I mean, it's not here every day. So we're the second largest city. So why wouldn't you come back to us and allocate it? And that's question one. Question number two, this city council had allocated 2 or 3 people, I'm not sure for how many exactly what it was, but you can correct me if I'm wrong, to include for the one-stop, one-shop, which allocated for these amount of people to come in through that program. And I like to see how this would fit into that one-stop, one-shop, because now you're asking for close to $1 million in flex. So anybody wants to answer?
I'll start off just overall in regards to the staffing. First, I held staffing constant in development services because I wanted to see the full implementation of the InterGov system to understand how much of the work could be automated. Now, moving forward, we also, in this budget process, adjusted salaries for those positions that we deem premium. These positions, inspectors that you're talking about, plumbing inspectors, electricians, all of those are premium positions that we're competing with the private sector. And so even though we've increased the salaries in those areas, we're still finding it difficult to get those certified staff on board. The other thing that we're doing is developing that in-house. So, but it takes 500 hours to qualify as a certified plumber. So we have the one plumber that we have that's certified that's now training others to come on board, but that's just started. So that's a 2-year process at best.
Sure.
So given that we have the demand for those services, the contracting is the appropriate way to go at this point, but it would be desirable to have that talent inside so that we can manage it appropriately.
Sure. So based on that, I have 2 more. When do we implement InterGov in this building? I mean, in this city?
In the city, InterGov was first implemented in 2017, 2018.
And when did you invent it into your department? When was that?
Development Services is InterGov. I mean, all
So
permit plan activity. But part of the thing with InterGov is not just one department. InterGov is the one-stop shop. InterGov is the centralized location where all of these elements combine. So when you're talking about a permit, you're not just talking about development services in some regards. You're talking about the collaboration on utilities, infrastructure. You're talking about fire reviews. All of those have to align for a project to be constructed, for a business to open. So InterGov is the confluence of all of those different services and then more. And so Development Services has been in InterGov since 2017 and has continued to be in InterGov up until that time. One of the things that City Manager Jones made a priority within the last year is making sure that all departments that have a role in development have a fully built-out system in InterGov so that it all functions appropriately.
Okay. So I'm going to yield back. I like to see year-to-year spending. We're true to budget, which means actual spending versus what was proposed. So if I'd like to see that slide in order for me to approve this. So recognizing Councilmember Rules.
Jennifer and Angel, I support the funding. This is our busiest department, and now I understand what you mean by flex because you want to handle the surge and then taper off. So I get it. But I'm also trying to get headcount because it's an area that we definitely need headcount. So if we can get headcount and then offset some of this purchase services is what I would call, that would be a win-win. So that's kind of where I'm going. And that's what I asked, if we can get a totality of how many other people we're using so we can do a true evaluation of your department and get you the help we need. Last question is, there's 2 vendors and the scope of services look identical. Mm-hmm. Is it just so you have backup or what?
So the idea is so that you don't just have one vendor, you have a choice that you can choose from based on capacity. The reality of what we're using our vendors for right now is we have one that's primarily doing plumbing-related inspections and then other inspection services. Then we have one that does more of the specialized plan reviews. So like the Metro Park and Ride, the multifamily all went to one vendor, whereas the majority of the inspections are going to the other one that has the capacity for it.
So some have strengths and weaknesses.
Right.
Okay.
Right.
Thank you.
I'm done. Since you talked about plumbing, what were we doing here before for plumbing inspection?
So previous years, the building official was the only one that had a plumbing license. However, they were sending out inspectors who did not. So that, if you're doing a plumbing inspection by state law, you're required to have a state plumbing license. And so that's the program that we've put into place, is that all of our building inspectors, with the ability, for flexibility in pay, making sure that the pay is related to the services that they're providing, that they are equipped to have that license.
So were you saying that your department was inspecting against the state law?
It was prior to mine. Prior to mine.
Prior to what?
Prior to it.
So,
I mean,
Jennifer,
I've been in the department.
I think what you're saying
Yeah.
is you don't know the answer to that question.
There you go.
If I may.
So the thing is that the city is required to have state licensed plumbers on staff. Right now, we currently have one. And so in order for us to perform those in accordance with state law, we need that resource. Okay. Right now, we're using third party to supply that resource.
Okay. So one last question. When did we start using this ongoing consulting services for architect as well as for other items?
So one has been a long term. The city's been using that for plan review service for quite a while. The second one we've been using consistently. The original contract, I think, went in 2020, and we've been using them consistently since then.
Which one were we using it for a while?
The long term is Michaela Architects.
Architects. Mm-hmm. And what would you say, when you say long time, what is the long time?
I started 17 years ago, and I believe they were using that service at that point.
So we were using it
to
for
offset,
that long.
right?
And it was as a consultant for
Right.
that long. And then what about the other service?
That contract was, and I'm speaking off the top of my head on this contract, but about 2020.
All right, since 2020.
About that.
All right, so if you had a nice chart here with all these defined out, then you would have your memory correct, right?
That would be true.
All right. Yielding back, Councilmember Brown Marshall.
Thank you so much. My question is, Jennifer, during the last budget period, did we budget overrun with any of these types of contracts?
Yes.
Okay. Do you foresee us going over potentially $100,000 on
Yes.
either of these
Yes.
contracts
Yes.
over the next 4-year period of time? So how will that be handled?
Well, not over the next 4 years. So again, it's to offset staff resources. The goal is to have in-house staff resources.
Mm-hmm.
If we have a qualified inspector and enough capacity, then the reliance on third party goes down.
Okay. But we know, based on your comments earlier, that would be possibly another 2 years down the road, because you said it takes about, or one of you said it's about 500
Right.
hours worth of training.
For our existing inspectors to be able to acquire that.
Okay, so if we're talking about $400,000 over a 4-year period of time, that's about $100,000 for certain for the next 2 years. And you're anticipating that the budget will exceed $100,000.
Yeah.
What happens when that occurs? Do y'all come back to council for a budget amendment at that time? Or will it be another, let's adjust the agreement again?
So the contract is one thing, and then the budget's the other.
Okay.
And so the budget, we're not asking for additional funds on the budget side. The budget is still the guardrail on there. We're using some salary savings for it, because basically the equivalent of about 2.5 inspectors paid at about a market rate is what we're paying out in third-party contracts right now.
Okay. I'll yield.
So how much did we go over? You said you went over.
So to give perspective, the multifamily plan review is about $65,000, one project.
So why didn't it come to council as a budget amendment? Or
It didn't require a budget amendment.
okay, so you just gave it out?
I'm sorry?
So even though you're only spending $100,000, but you kept it going?
So the $65,000 is one project with one vendor. So if the per annuum is $110, and we have one project that takes up that amount of dollars, then the resources that we have to be able to provide other services dwindles. So the ability to be able to respond to inspections. So remember, on building inspections the same day if they're called in by 7 a.m. So the ability to respond to that time frame increases because the service level that we have dwindles.
So how long have you been operating with this one inspector?
We have 3.
Okay, with 3. And you're saying that's not enough?
Not so much the inspectors aren't enough, it's the qualifications. Okay. So if you have, so plumbing in general, the Diner Scene project that's under construction. So if tomorrow's schedule has 30 plumbing inspections for each of the homes that's under construction. Our in-house staff would not be able to perform those inspections. Our building official is the only one qualified to perform those inspections, but our building official cannot perform all of those inspections on top of some of the other duties that he has. So that's where they would be scheduled to the third party for the third party inspector to go out and perform those inspections.
So you said about $65,000 that's spent over now?
No, just an example on one project. So if the contract is capped per year at no more than 110, and one project is 65,000, and that's a multifamily project, 20 building project, and that's the plan review side.
Sure.
Then that right there shows the use of that. So we're not able to utilize that service where we need the service because you still have activity going on.
And I'm just trying to understand. So if an ED director brings in 3 new multifamilies, what do you do?
The ED director didn't even have to bring it. You already have. we already have one on the horizon in Fort Bend Town Center 3 that is likely to submit for permit review within this fiscal year.
No, I get that. But let's just say in addition to that, your ED director brings in 3 other new development. What do you do?
And it's the same. It's the resources that you have because you have to provide the inspections. You have to provide those plan reviews. So this is a tool that you offset your staff resources. The goal is always to bring it in-house. We have greater control over it in-house. But to offset those resources at the pace of development, that's what these contracts are for.
Okay. I go back to city manager. I like to see those in place. So, all right, thank you. There's been a motion by Councilmember Boney and second by Councilmember Maroulis. Can you state your motion, sir, please? Is it to approve?
Well, I'm making a motion on the first item, which is to authorize the city manager to amend Exhibit B of the professional consulting services agreement with Michaela Architects for development plan review and inspection services in the amount not to exceed $440,000 over a 4-year period.
Okay. That's your second, Councilmember Maroulis?
Yes, and then we'll get reports from the city manager.
Okay. All right, let's go ahead and vote. And I'm just placing it that I'm voting no because I don't have those reports today.
The motion carries 5-2.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
All right. Item.
Mayor, I'm trying to make a motion on item 6I now.
Okay, go ahead. Go ahead. Okay, it's been a motion by Councilmember Boney for item I. Is there a second? Mayor Pro Tem Emery has a second. No one else in the queue? Let's go ahead and vote. And I just want to state the record, I'm voting against it because I don't have that information today.
Are we not getting a presentation?
The motion carries 5-2.
Thank you. Item 7 is public hearing and related action 7A to 7A1.
7A1 is a public hearing to receive comments for or against the adoption of a resolution adopting a schedule of fees for film industry productions in Missouri City.
Okay, thank you. I'll now go ahead and open the public hearing for item A1. Do we have any?
Mr. Mayor, we have no comments.
All right, we'll go ahead and close the public hearing. Item 7A2.
7A2 is a resolution of the City Council of the City of Missouri City, Texas, adopting a schedule of fees for costs related to film production in Missouri City, Texas, providing for repeal and providing an effective date.
Okay.
Good evening, Mayor and Council. We have
I'm sorry. Go ahead.
Sorry. We have a brief presentation. As we've been adopting the ordinances, the next step is to adopt the fees and review the fees. So that is the step that we're currently in, which is after we adopt the ordinance. And that's the list of fees, and that's the resolution in front of you today for the cost of any type of city services for the film-friendly industry.
Okay. Does that end your presentation?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Recognizing Councilmember Clauser.
Yes, thank you, Herman, and I'm excited about this being passed. I wanted to know the schedule of fees. Let me pull it back up because I had taken it off. Where did you get this schedule of fees?
Go ahead, sorry.
And just walk me through where you got the schedule of fees. And then I saw that economic development and city management are high, and public works are higher per hour. And so just walk me through both of those.
We used two things. Number one, we compared other resolutions with fees, and then internally we had a study of labor cost, and we used the study of labor costs along with the comparison from the other resolutions to come up with the hourly rate.
Okay.
Does that end?
So what?
No, go ahead.
So what would be an example of how the film industry would utilize economic development services and our city secretary?
No, this is pretty much in the case of if we wanted to either participate in a commercial or anything like that. First, we'd have to say yes, and first it wouldn't be able to disrupt our daily operations. So this is in the scenario that we were going to participate in either a film, a TV series, or a commercial, either in the capacity of research or in the capacity of acting in the actual, participating in the actual filming. This would be the compensation. They would compensate the city for those services. But we would first have to say we are available and we can participate.
Okay, so let's say city secretary's office is $71 per hour. Are you saying that you're saying the city secretary acting, or what would the utilization of fees be for the city secretary for a film, other than her acting?
Anything that would take her away from her daily duties that she'd want to participate in, whether it be they want an open records request and they have open records requests of us and they want to pay us for those open records requests. It could be any type of participation that they have that they would be participating in that. That would be the cost that we could charge them for that participation.
Quick point of clarification on that. Under state law, we would not be able to charge that amount, certainly for an open records request. However,
yeah, it was for scenario purposes.
However, they might ask for research in terms of ordinances and other things. So, yeah.
Okay, thank you. I yield.
Most of my questions were answered by Edward. Again, if the film industry requires a film that needs animal services to be involved, then we would charge that rate. Okay, so it's not. I'll leave it at that. It answers my questions, and again, I think the question also is where did we get the cost per hour, and it appears that that's from Financial Services put together something. So that's the extent of my questions.
All right. Recognizing Councilmember Ryan.
Thank you. Are these rates on par with other cities that are doing this?
That's a very good question. They're a little bit higher, but the rates that we saw in other cities were adopted prior to COVID or right along before the inflationary cost. So we know that they're going to go ahead and probably adjust for inflation. So we were trying to kind of meet that inflationary cost now.
And my second question is, does the film-friendly industry, do they need to, accept, approve, or
these particular rates, or do they have a guideline of rates that they normally follow as their norm?
It would be case by case, and each one has their own budget and what their budget is for what they need. And so this is just us telling them, if you knock on our door, this is what we're going to charge. So just before you even get involved, before you knock on the door, you know exactly publicly what we're going to charge.
And then my next question is the city manager. How are we going to regulate what is allowable to be charged and what is not? Just to the statement of the city secretary and public open records requests, things like that. How are we going to regulate the processes for? That's my question.
We will just make sure that we follow state law. I mean, that was a poor example that was given, but it was just trying to emphasize the fact that it's going to be unique to each film in terms of what they would be looking for in terms of support for that film. So we would make sure that we know the gist of the film before we even start talking about rates.
Okay, and then my last question is as it relates to parks. If they're wanting to utilize our parks or any other departments, animal services, will those parks be restricted from our residents? Do we know anything about that, Herman? Will our residents still have access to parks if they're trying to film?
Usually during the time when you're filming, they would be off limits for use because you would put some kind of barricade up because you would want to make sure that you have access. That's why we're charging for the per hour charge, because they would be restricted during that time.
Okay.
All right. Recognizing Councilmember Boney.
Thank you, Mayor. I think this is what Councilmember Clauser was asking, but I wanted to make sure I'm clear on it. Why is it that there's these varying costs instead of just a blanket cost or price for any of our departments? I mean, why is there a distinction between financial services or IT? If they're all involved in making this happen or whatever, why not have just a blanket rate? Is this governed by something, state law, or?
Because of the collaboration of the team that reviewed those, the objective was to try to have it be cost neutral to the city. So if those rates are reflective of what it costs us for those staff in those areas, and so to that extent, that's what that reflects to some degree.
Yeah, I was just thinking.
But again, I mean, just take it for example. If I'm part of the film and doing some kind of research, then it's going to cost them more than someone that's in another area of the city that is not at the level that it costs the city.
So this is based off of salaries or average salaries in
It's
departments?
based off the regional cost for that type of labor. So it's not based on the salaries internal for the city of Missouri City. It's based on the regional cost for that type of labor.
Oh, okay. I just thought it would be cleaner and simpler to just have a blanket, fee across the board, and that's what we charge. $147. You're very expensive to be in a film. So I mean, why not just have that be the fee? But nonetheless, I just wanted to know why that wasn't the case. But I understand now.
All right. Recognizing Councilmember Riley.
Thank you. I couldn't see. I put my glass on so I could ask my last question. Too much TMI, too much information. All of the city equipment, as it relates to, I guess, rental or whatnot, Herman, is there going to be some type of stipulation if equipment is damaged or if it's not maintained while it's in their care, their possession? That was another concern I had.
I think that was in the ordinance particularly, wasn't it, Joyce, where it was a determination of the department director and the city manager for a particular equipment usage. I don't think that we have every scenario accounted for, every what if, but there are, whenever you do have an agreement between the city and another entity like a business, you're going to have a bonding issue, you're going to have a liability insurance issue, and that liability insurance would be able to cover the cost of damage in the what ifs realm.
And the ordinance does provide for an insurance requirement. Yes. And additionally, like other cities, we would ask the production company to enter into a contract with the city as well.
Okay, great. Thank you so much for that. My last question is, when the different departments these fees are assessed to the film industry, are we putting those, that income, that revenue into those particular departments' budget, or is it just going back into the general fund?
General fund.
Okay.
Recognizing Councilmember Marulis.
So, I would propose we increase development services because there's not enough of them. So, if you're going to pull from them, and same thing for IT, you pull one guy and you're done, right? So, I just thought that maybe we consider the bandwidth of that department. Just a thought.
All right. I also have just a quick comment. You know, I wasn't going to make a comment, but it's just you're putting city vehicles at $20 per hour, right? Up here.
Mm-hmm.
But then you have personnel other than police officers at $117 an hour. I was under the impression that if you take a fire truck out of the bay, there's a lot more than $20 an hour. If they're going to, I don't know.
Again, we couldn't account for every situation. I actually brought that up, and we talked about it at length, and they came up with this. The only other thing that I will tell you is the ordinance does provide that if there is going to be a cost for using city equipment outside of the norm, or what the cost would be, it would be a determination by the chief, the director, and the city manager for that charge.
All right.
So I don't think that we would go ahead and say, okay, we'll charge you $20 an hour for 2 days with fire truck.
Okay.
That's not what I would think would happen.
Just asking.
Yes, sir.
All right, thank you. We have a motion by Councilmember Brown Marshall, second by Councilmember Clauser. Seeing no one else on the queue, let's go ahead and vote.
The motion carries 6-1.
Okay. Item 7A3. The public hearing to receive comments for or against amending the Community Development Block Grant Citizen Participation Plan.
Mayor, we have received
No comments? All right, we'll go ahead and close the public hearing. Item number 7.4. Consideration and possible action to approve amendments to the Community Development Block Grant Citizen Participation Plan. A presentation by Marissa Morgan.
Good evening,
Good evening.
Council and Mayor. We're finally here. So the Citizen Participation Plan is a requirement of HUD, the Housing and Urban Development, and it involves the public in the program planning and implementation. So the proposed amendments, and it should be on the second page of your packet, include to remove the reference to residents, referencing different quadrants of the city, in regards to the Community Development Advisory Committee. This change is proposed for consistency with proposed amendments to the CDAC bylaws. Various grammar and spelling updates to remove references to the consultant, as well as to the reference on the city's newspaper, which is the Fort Bend Independent, of record for the purpose of publishing public notices. Also, the Community Development Advisory Committee considered these changes to the plan on the September 27th. They recommended and approved.
All right, thank you. Is there a motion? It's been a motion by Councilmember Boney, second by Councilmember Riley. Seeing no one else on the queue, let's go ahead and vote.
Member Marulis?
Says I voted. Hold on. Got it. Thank you.
Let's go. What are we doing?
The motion carries 6-1. No, 6-0. Sorry.
Okay, thank you. Item 8B.
8B, an ordinance of the City of Missouri City, Texas, authorizing the city manager to establish an employee longevity incentive program in accordance with the fiscal year 2024 budget, providing for repeal and providing for severability.
Elena? Chris?
Yes, good evening again. Oh,
Good evening.
again.
8B, right?
Yes. And it seems the presentation is not there. So I'm going to read this information. So this item is a new policy, the Employee Longevity Incentive Policy. This policy is to encourage employee retention and to recognize the commitment and dedication of employees who contribute to the success and growth of our organization. This policy also aims to increase morale and foster a positive work environment. This policy also aligns with the city's strategic goal to develop a high-performance team. We do have criteria within the policy. Under this policy, the city manager, with the approval of city council, may provide a longevity incentive to eligible employees depending on funding availability each fiscal year. This was also included in the fiscal year 2024 budget. The longevity incentive may be made through a one-time lump sum payment. And there is a requirement that employees must be actively employed as a regular full-time or regular part-time employee, working a minimum of 20 hours per week to be eligible. Temporary and seasonal employees are not eligible for the employee longevity incentive. This is just an overview of what's included in your packet tonight in regards to this policy. There, within the ordinance, it mentions some of the Attorney General opinion when it comes to making these sorts of payments to staff and ensuring that it was budgeted, and that there's also a policy that's in place for that. And so this is, although some of this is in our personnel policy, this policy will be for not only our non-civil service, but for our civil service employees also. And that ends my presentation.
Okay, thank you. There's been a motion by Councilmember Maroulis, second by Mayor Pro Tem Emery, recognizing Councilmember Brown Marshall.
Okay, thank you. Elena, my first question is, can you walk me through how something like this would work? You say it would be a lump sum paid out to an employee. Okay, just give me a scenario of what this looks like.
So we have done this in the past. We have made lump sum payments to employees in lieu of an annual increase. So it would be the same process, whereby we have guidelines in place that states when you must be employed. Let's say you must have been employed for a 6-month period, and anyone that has been employed for that period of time through payroll would receive the one-time payment, whether it be a lump sum payment that's 3% or some flat amount. It would go through the payroll program. Now, in order to be able to do something like this, it would be included in the budget that is approved by City Council.
Okay, and so you said either a lump sum payment or a pay increase.
In the past, that's what's in our current personnel policy, that the city manager has the ability to issue a lump sum payment in lieu, but this is not in lieu.
Okay, so this
could be in addition to, as long as it is within the budget that is approved by City Council. Yes, ma'am.
Okay, and is there a requirement? Oh, I'm sorry. Go ahead, please.
A little bit why this is before you. Based on my understanding of what happened before, when the city provided a 3% increase to non-civil service, and civil service was getting a step increase, it really created an issue between equity among all employees. And so this is put forth this way because it allows us across the board to recognize both civil service and non-civil service. And it's separate and apart from any salary increases that we're going to give. This is strictly for longevity and hopefully to really demonstrate to employees their value.
Okay, so forgive me, but I thought we had already demonstrated that by providing the increases that we recently provided. Not that I'm against this, I'm just trying to understand what's going on with this. So when you say longevity, what is that? Is that someone 5 years, 10, 20? What is that? I don't understand.
Basically, it's 3 months.
Oh.
So, I mean, at this rate, it's a way to, you're correct. You did approve the salary increases, and as you know, we're continuously facing competitive challenges with our salaries. So that's going to be an ongoing thing that we have to look at salaries every year. Okay. This is really a one-time where we want to recognize employees during the holiday season if you will, and the language is according to what is allowed by civil service. So the only way to do it across all employees is to have it be something that's in advance. It cannot be after the fact. So that's why I said this way.
Okay, I got it. And then this is my last question. In the event that we give someone this lump sum or something like this, and then a week later they leave, what happens? They just leave with it. Okay. I yield.
All right. So I have a couple of questions. First of all, I mean, for a statement, I'm very disappointed again we don't have another presentation on something of this magnitude that we're talking about a one-time payment or incentive for employees. How can we get this right? I'm just talking about the city manager. How can we get this right moving forward that we have presentations on important items such as this?
We'll make sure that there are presentations going forward.
Okay. Number two, so going back to this is, when you say incentives, this is for civil service and non-civil service, everybody in the organization that's here today, or once this gets passed, if it gets passed, anybody who's been here 3 months or longer is going to get this. Or what is it?
Within the defined time period.
What is the defined time period? Because if I'm voting on it, I want to know.
Typically, it's 6 months.
Is it typically, or is it 6 months?
It is typically 6 months. That's what we have done in the past.
But in this ordinance, it is for the pay period prior to.
Y'all are confusing me. Is it 3 months, 6 months? What is it?
It's the pay period.
Pay period of what?
So it's the pay period, the first day of the pay period before the payment is made. They have to be employed by the city.
What?
So there's a.
So that's 2 weeks.
So 2 weeks, yeah.
So anybody who gets hired in here in 2 weeks, if you're employed by here in 2 weeks, you get this?
Yes.
Then why did you say 6 months?
That has been the practice in the past. I actually was out attending a funeral, and so I'm actually presenting in lieu of, and so that was my understanding at the time, but it is what is written in your...
You weren't prepared for this because somebody else is telling
You know
me
what?
it's 2
Maybe I was not prepared for this, and I'll make sure in the future that if I have to present an item such as this, that I am prepared and that my staff is prepared.
Prior to it, as a finance director, you had a practice in place for any employees who's been here 6 months and longer. Am I wrong? Was that your practice?
We
On
did
something
issue,
like
we
this?
issued guidelines, and the practice was 6 months. Yes, sir.
Okay. So, city attorney, where did you get that 2 pay period from?
Sure. And I was working in consultation with the Director of Human Resources and Organizational Development. And at this time, I'm happy to go back into a closed executive session to provide you all with legal advice on this item if you would like, if there's a motion in a second. If not, I'm happy to share that information. If you all vote to have the information discussed out front, I'm happy to do that as
So is the director of HR here?
She is on vacation, and that's why I'm here tonight.
Okay. So I don't know what this motion is up here for. I like to take the city attorney's motion to go back and understand what this is we're voting for, because it seems to be that no one can answer exactly what this is. Councilmember Marules, you want to remove your motion? I mean, wait. Now before you do that, recognize the Mayor Pro Tem Emery.
Yeah, well, one of my questions was already answered, and that was, did it apply to civil service? And we're saying it is. And again, the intent is to try to retain the individuals that we have on the payroll now. So it's an incentive to stay with Missouri City, just as it's a $10,000 incentive for police officers to sign. So again, this is trying to, put in place programs that will help us retain the individuals that we have. Now, I question the 2 week also. I'd like to see it maybe extended a little bit further, but maybe that's something we can talk about. Because in the past, as I recall, when we did special payments such as this, we always looked and made sure, I think, that they had at least 6 months worth of service with the company before we did that. Now, that doesn't mean we have to do the same thing again. Whatever logic prevails, that's what we should use, as long as it meets the goals that we're trying to establish by putting this program in place. So,
Is that a question or a
no,
statement?
it was a statement.
Okay. All right. Recognizing Councilmember Boney.
Thank you, Mayor. In the packet that was sent out for this agenda, there was just one word that continuously was stated in the presentation. It didn't really speak to any specific numbers, but it kept saying may. May provide an incentive, may provide a lump sum payment, but there's no specifics as to, and it says if funding is available. And so I don't know what that looks like, where that funding is in the current budget, how much that funding is, because I'm assuming that there's been money allotted already for this in the budget. Specifically, what is that amount right now?
It's $500,000.
$500,000 that's in the current fiscal year budget, and it says may provide funding based off of funding availability. So if it's already been budgeted.
Because the policy is not for just this year. The policy is for ongoing. So we put may in there because it's contingent on funding being available. So this year the funding is available, but next year the funding may not be available. So given the fact that we have meet and confer agreements and everything else, we want to be careful to not commit to something that we do not have funding for. So that's why it says may.
Considering that we're talking about meet and confer and civil service versus non-civil service, are you saying that the incentives would look differently for civil service versus non-civil service? And if so, why? Because it's not salary related per se or incentive related, or I guess it is incentive related, but I'm saying, is there a civil service criteria that dictates how we would provide? Because don't they already get a longevity pay?
This is specifically structured this way to enable us to make a one-time payment or a percentage increase payment if warranted based on funding available.
No, I'm specifically talking about civil service.
Yes.
We provide them with various incentives.
Correct.
One of them being education pay, the other being, if I'm not mistaken, longevity pay.
Yeah.
All employees have longevity pay. So I'm just trying to understand, if we're already offering this, why are we needing this addition? I hope I'm making sense with my question.
I don't think I understand.
If we're already offering longevity incentive pay to employees, including civil service, why is this needed? If we're already providing that, we've already, as a council, allotted dollars for incentive pay for longevity, for how long they've been with the city.
So currently, employees receive, I think it's $4 a month per year or something like, if that's correct, for longevity. This is a one-time addition to.
But that's not how much we give to civil service.
For longevity is they have seniority.
Seniority pay. Okay, all right.
That's different.
All right. Well, I knew it was something.
Okay, that's why I was.
Seniority pay, but we offer incentives.
Mhm.
So, to me, seniority is similar to longevity because it's how long you've been here. But I guess my point is, I was trying to understand how you determine then who gets what. You say if funding is available and whatever, and so we keep talking about civil service versus non-civil service. So, do we have to look at civil service differently than we do non-civil service? And if so, how, why? I think that's what I'm hearing the mayor say, where we don't have anything to kind of look at to be able to determine what this really looks like. All we're saying is, although the money's already been budgeted for this year, so you can spend it however you so choose as city manager, because it's already been budgeted. But going forward, if this is a policy
Right.
or ordinance that we're talking about establishing, I just need to know what that breakdown would look like
I think
for everybody.
I think the cleanest way to state this is the policy is stated this way to ensure everyone receives the same amount, whether it's civil service or non-civil service. This provides the guidance, the policy direction that we need to be able to pay a lump sum or a percentage increase. Otherwise, we would be looking at civil service differently from non-civil service. And we wanted it to be the same across the organization.
With respect to this item, considering that I don't feel like I have enough information, I mean, I don't think we need to go in the back, in my opinion, to talk about it, but I'd ask that we probably, consider postponing this item
Yeah,
for
it's not
future
done, so
consideration
well, it is.
instead of voting on it, because my vote would be no today. But not that I don't want to incentivize our employees. I'm just saying that I just think it's too vague for me.
Recognizing Councilmember Clauser.
So my first question was going to be, are we taking this to the executive session? That was going to be my first question.
I mean, I'm in the favor of what Councilmember Boney's talking about.
Okay.
See, the problem I have.
Let me,
Okay, go ahead.
Yep. And then my second point was going to be, I have seen companies that, a longevity incentive is if you are here for a year, then you get a longevity incentive. So that's, in my head, that's what, when I'm thinking if I'm with a company, I want to reward a company for being there for a long period of time. 2 weeks isn't a long period of time, and neither is 6 months as far as I'm concerned. Not saying that, employees don't deserve it, but, if we are really going to reward someone for being here for the long haul, let's really do that in the spirit of what longevity really means. So, but I was going to suggest if we're not going, if we are going to the back, I was going to ask to take up the other item.
So there has been a motion by Councilmember Maroulis and Emery, but I'll make a statement, then I'll ask what their motion is. It's Thanksgiving, it's Christmas. We appreciate our employees, all of them, every single one of them who's working here. Without a doubt, I think this is a great package. One, for me, is there's no presentation to show me what this looked like. Because when you put a presentation up here on the screen, that is showing our citizens of this city. They're seeing that, not our faces. So this is the third time saying we need a presentation. Number 3, couldn't answer between the 2 weeks to 6 months was a practice of our assistant city manager, who's been a great finance person here for a while. Now it's switched to 2 weeks. There needs to be consistency in what you all do, and especially when you come and ask us. Number 4, when this is presented out to our public, this city council that's sitting up here today is very proud of the fact that we didn't even raise or did a bond or did a tax increase to give any type of increases that we have given in so far to date. Nobody up here voted for a tax increase, or we didn't go to our citizens, ask for bond to pay you all or to do other functions of keeping the shop open, which is a proud moment for us. So doing something like this within the budget without increasing a tax is wonderful, but come on. I go back with Councilmember Boney. You all got to come back to us and show us the data in order for us to do this. And I would hope that to Member Boney's, if you all, we have one more meeting, that's coming up. At least maybe we can get factual information on here. So at that point, maybe the council may vote or may vote against it, depending on how it goes. So with that, now I don't see anybody else on the queue, so I'll ask Councilmember Maroulis for his motion. What is his motion?
Yeah, I like what Councilmember Boney said. It's best to pull it tonight rather than vote no. So let's pull the item. So I withdraw my motion.
I'll withdraw in a second.
Okay. So I would entertain a motion because there's no motion right now. If I don't get a motion, then we move on to the next item.
Motion postpone.
Postpone, but if anybody else wants to add in a motion. All right, see no motions, we'll jump to item number 9.
9A, a resolution of the City Council of the City of Missouri City, Texas, adopting bylaws for the Community Development Advisory Committee and repealing all other resolutions in conflict herewith.
Okay, there's a presentation by Marissa Morgan, Community Development Coordinator. Yes, ma'am.
Good evening, Mayor and Council. So this item allows to remove the requirements from positions 4 and 5 and allow for a resident in District A and B who have an interest in the city CDBG program to serve as a member on the committee. This information was gathered from the 2020 census data. Also, the Community Development Advisory Committee considered this amendment on its July 24th agenda, and it was approved.
Okay, thank you. Is there a motion? There's been a motion by Councilmember Riley, second by Councilmember Klauser. Seeing no one else to speak, well, let's go ahead and vote.
The motion carries 6-0.
All right, thank you. Item 9B.
A resolution of the City Council of the City of Missouri City, Texas, identifying certain city officials with authority to open and maintain an account or accounts with said bank for the City of Missouri City Insurance Trust Fund, providing for repeal and containing other provisions relating to the subject.
Thank you. Elena Portis, Assistant City Manager.
Okay, and so for the next few items, these are in relation to having our new CFO. We need to add her as a signer to our account, and so this item places our new CFO, Monique Didier, with the Wells Fargo Bank for our nonprofit trust, which is what we use for our employee benefits. We also have included Bertha Alexander as our Assistant Finance Director on these items.
Thank you. I see a motion by Councilmember Brown Marshall, second by Councilmember Klauser. Seeing no one else on the queue, let's go ahead and vote.
The motion carries unanimously.
Thank you. Item 9C.
A resolution of the City Council of the City of Missouri City, Texas, identifying certain officials with authority to open and maintain an account or accounts with Wells Fargo Bank, National Association, providing for repeal and containing other provisions relating to the subject.
Okay, thank you, Elena.
And this is for our depository account, our normal account, the operating account with Wells Fargo. This is adding Monique Didier to the account as a signer also.
All right, thank you. I see a motion by Councilmember Brown Marshall, second by Councilmember Maroulis. No one else on the queue, so let's go ahead and vote.
The motion carries unanimously.
All right, thank you. Item 9D.
A resolution of the City Council of the City of Missouri City, Texas, authorizing the Deputy Assistant City Manager, Financial Services Department Director, and Assistant Director of the Financial Services Department to negotiate and execute any and all contracts and other documents incident to establishing bank and investment accounts for the purpose of the investment of City of Missouri City funds and providing for repeal.
Thank you. Elena Portis.
Okay, and this item is for the resolution, as mentioned, to be able to sign banking documents whenever we purchase CDs and other items of that nature.
All right, thank you. There's a motion by Councilmember Brown Marshall, second by Councilmember Riley. Seeing no one else on the queue to speak, we'll go ahead and vote.
The motion carries unanimously.
Thank you. Item 9E.
A resolution of the City Council of the City of Missouri City, Texas, granting consent to Missouri City Management District Number 1 to issue unlimited tax bonds in an amount not to exceed $12 million.
Thank you. Elena Portis.
Yes, I believe this is the last one for me tonight. This resolution is for the sale of bonds for various construction projects involving roads within the Management District Number 1. Their board met on October 16, 2023 to authorize the sale. Again, it's Unlimited Tax Bond, Series 2023 in the amount of $12 million. The Management District's current property tax rate is 90 cents, of which 50 cents is for debt service, and the issuance of this bond will not impact their tax rate. We do have representatives from the management district here if there are any specific questions in regards to their debt issue.
All right, thank you. We have a motion by Councilmember Boney, second by Councilmember Brown Marshall. Seeing no one else on the queue, unless you have anything that you want to add, we're good? All right. Well, thank you for staying here. Thank you. Let's go ahead and vote.
The motion carries unanimously.
All right. Thank you.
Thank you.
Item number 10 are City Council announcements. We'll go ahead and start with our large position 1, Councilmember Sonia Brown Marshall.
Okay. Thank you so much, Mayor. First, I want to extend congratulations to the Exchange Club of Fort Bend on a successful golf tournament. It was held right here at Quail Valley on October 23rd. They raised about $50,000, and a vast majority of that money goes back to help knock out child abuse. And so pretty proud of them for doing that. So it's a great deed. I want to thank all of the developers who've been coming towards us and the Economic Development Committee, just bringing different project ideas before us. I look forward to remaining engaged with you guys. And over the last 3 weeks, it's been a pleasure at looking at several potential projects that will afford our city new growth. Had an opportunity to meet Mayor Ashu of the Monf Council for the Southwest region of Cameroon. That was pretty special. It really was. I look forward to receiving additional information on the potential development of a sister city ordinance. And I wish Mayor Ashu many blessings on the rebuilding of his region. Had a great time judging costumes at the Quail Valley Trunk or Treat. It's a lot of fun. And then on this past Saturday, for the first time for myself, I had an opportunity to work along with a couple of other council members, Dream Dinners, where we packaged 55,000 meals in just under 2.5 hours. It was amazing. Vast majority of the meals packaging goes back to Turn the Table on Hunger, and where they'll distribute about 2,000 of those meals here, Fort Bend County, kind of locally, but the other 53,000 of those meals will go over to countries in Africa and other countries that are really much so in need of the food. So had a great time doing that, and I wish them the best of luck with that. Mayor, that concludes my comments because I'm hangry.
Thank you. Recognizing Councilmember, large position number 2, Lynn Clauser.
Yes, I want to wish our council member Sonia Brown Marshall a belated birthday. She celebrated her birthday on October 23rd, and it was a pleasure celebrating with you and to your birthday. You're a wonderful person, and it's a pleasure to serve alongside you. I want to give a shout out to the Small Business Advisory Committee, who recently shot a video that included their newly appointed committee members. The video will highlight members and support and the support that the committee provides to our business owners in Missouri City. Our small business mixer will be, our last small business mixer of the year will be December 5th at Johnny Tamale. And so we look forward to all of the Missouri City small businesses coming out to kind of cross-pollinate and exchange ideas and have some fun. I enjoyed the Quail Valley Proud annual Trunk or Treat contest. Mayor Ellicott, myself, and Councilmember Brown Marshall served as judges, and it was a lot of fun. Tough. We had some tough decisions to make, but the kids and the adults looked really, really cute, and we had a great time. And lastly, all of the Missouri City veterans are invited to a breakfast and celebration this Saturday from 7 to 9:30 in the community center. The breakfast is free for veterans, and any guests are $10. Registration is required. So we want all of our Missouri City veterans to come out. And if you would like to register, you can do so at mctxparks.com. That's mctxparks.com. And that concludes my comments.
Thank you. Recognizing Councilmember District A, Monica Riley.
Thank you. It's been a very eventful month with breast cancer awareness and domestic violence awareness. So I just want to say thank you to everyone that had invited me out to speak on behalf of being a domestic violence survivor, the Empowerment Conference, as well as the Happy Feet Pink Out with Happy Feet's line dancer Sheila Brown. And I had the opportunity of attending several meetings, the Lake Olympia CPAC, the Hunters Glen CPAC, as well as Hunters Park, Colony Crossing, QV West, Plantation Park with Councilmember Maroulis, and Quail Village 2, Hunters Glen 4, Hunters Green. It was really great, as well as being a part of, stop teasing me, as well as in the grand opening for the Thai Halal Bistro that's opened up over there in Missouri City in Councilmember C, the place to be, as district over there. So that was really great. I want to say congratulations also to Roxana, Dr. Roxy, for her grand opening and offering her services as well. Had an opportunity to go to the Big Brothers Big Sisters Gala, where they are wanting to bring more mentorships into Missouri City and Fort Bend County. So if you are not a mentor, they have about 700 students out here in the region that are looking for mentors. So I want to put that plug out there. I also want to say thank you to those that honored me for Breast Cancer Survivor, the Winners of the World, the Rose Domestic Violence, and congratulations to my daughters who received the Youth Philanthropy Award this past weekend as well. Great job, Radical Rileys. Thank you so much to the Dubway Foundation for having another awesome District A community block party in the park for all of our residents. Thank you, everybody, for coming out. Attended our Texas Parkway Cartwright Corridor Advisory Meeting with our chair and keynote speaker, Councilmember Jeffrey L. Boney, and along with the Boards and Commissions Committee. So thank you so much to City Secretary Crystal and Deputy City Secretary. Y'all have some long titles. I was going to call you Jethro, but Jarrell. I was watching the Hillbillies over the weekend, my bad. But thank y'all so much for putting that together and all of the work that y'all help us, put that committee together and do the work with Councilmember Clouser and, again, our keynote speaker. I think it was a lot of other stuff I went to, but just want to say thank y'all to our staff, all y'all do. Please don't ever take it personal if we don't vote in favor of some of the things that y'all recommend. Don't take it personal. It's just that we're looking for certain things, and we do appreciate the work that y'all put in. And that concludes me.
Thank you. Recognizing District B Councilmember Jeffrey L. Boney.
Thank you, Mayor. Try not to deliver a keynote speech, but I do have some things to share. I want to thank City Manager, our Economic Development Director, Herman, for visiting with a potential, a new landowner, and we believe to be an exciting new developer who was wanting to work with the city on what it is that we could work collaboratively on. It's my hope that we advocate to try to do what's best for both parties, the citizens of Missouri City, as well as that developer. As mentioned, we did have our boards and commissions meeting. We also had a special council meeting to discuss potential ordinances that will help, we believe, improve the city. We also had a Texas Parkway Cartwright Corridor Committee meeting. I want to also say congratulations to the honorees from the No Sisters Left Behind event. My colleague, Councilwoman Clouser's daughter, Lauren, was honored, as well as State Representative Ron Reynolds' daughter, Lacey, and the Radical Rileys were in attendance. And so congratulations to you all for that honor and what you've done to raise some wonderful children. Newport Estates annual HOA meeting. Attended, thank you, Shashi and team for Joy for attending that meeting along with me. The Hunters Glen 4 HOA meeting was great as well. Also attended the Lifting Families Together Gala. One of my constituents, as well as long-time volunteer for the city, Miss Ava Holland, put on this wonderful event year after year. This was her 6th annual, and so I was excited to be there to share remarks and do the welcome and opening. I enjoyed coming in and joining my colleagues, Mayor Pro Tem Emery and Councilwoman Brown Marshall and Councilmember Marulis at the Dream Dinners 3rd annual meal packing. I think that I helped shave off a couple of hours.
Yep.
Yeah, you
yep.
did.
On the-
You dropped it.
I was the rice aficionado, so I was the one putting the rice in the bags.
On the floor. I mean,
Oh,
in the bag. Sorry.
But only half of it went on the floor. But no, it was all good. But a couple of other quick things. I just wanted to thank my colleagues on the HGAC board. They recently appointed me to a special select committee on board composition. There's a proposition in the city of Houston right now being considered about the city of Houston's participation. So we're going to have to look at board composition. So they selected me to be a part of that, and I'm excited about that honor. And then Blue Orchid Boutique. My daughters and my son started a event. They had 2 pop-up events since our last meeting and have done extremely well, so I'm so proud of them. And lastly, please go out and vote. Thank you.
Thank you. Recognizing Councilmember of District C, Anthony Marulis.
Thank you, Mayor. I really appreciated Mike's comments earlier about the bond, because it's actually on my note to give to you today. I think we do owe the citizens an update. Tonight in the consent 6M, we approved a park with bond money. So it's important we share that with the community. So if we can do an update in the future, it'd be great. And then also push it out on social media. Dream Dinners, ton of fun. I miss Councilmember Clouser because we didn't have the cheers this year like this year. Councilmember Sonia Brown Marshall and I tried, but it was ish. But we missed you, but a great event for the right reasons. Missouri City Green had their 2nd annual textile event. They filled an entire truck full of textiles, clothes, and whatnot. So congrats to Missouri City Green. And I was working hard there next to Mayor Pro Tem, donating some clothing there and eating donuts. Tomorrow is Election Day. Go out and vote. Happy Veterans Day. And then the winning touchdown on the Texans game was phenomenal. And the receiver, Tank Dell, go Cougs. Thank y'all.
Thank you.
You knew that was coming, right?
All right. Recognizing Councilmember of District D and Mayor Pro Tem Floyd Emery.
Well, I also attended the Dream Dinners event that we had, and we had was it official event because we had a quorum of 4 people that were there.
Don't tell anybody.
But
If
we
I
didn't
may.
talk city business. All we did was just load up bags of rice. But I found, and it wasn't verified, that our table put out more bags of dinners than any of the others, so we'll take that as a kudo. Allegedly. And as Mayor or Councilman Marulis indicated, we had the Freedom Center donation event Saturday morning also. I was able to attend the Farmers Market AARP recognition event that they had there. And I think that, again, demonstrates the value and the importance of our farmers market that we have out in Siena. So if you haven't been there, you need to go there, support some of our local small businesses because they're the ones who bring the products to the market. And finally, there was a request from the public comments to give an update on the status of the maintenance barn at Quail Valley, the status of the Freedom Tree Park. And so I'm hoping that maybe collectively through staff and that we can bring that information forward so that the citizens know where we are on those 3. Actually, there's a 3rd one, the tearing down of the wall on Cartwright. So hopefully we can get some status from staff to bring that information to the citizens. And with that, that's the extent of my remarks.
All right. Thank you. I just have 2 announcements. One, last week I had the opportunity to go to Inspiration Academy. It's a school, childcare that just opened up. in District C. I was the only one there. I did tell her that I will have everyone else from council attend, so that's an open invitation on camera.
No pressure.
Yeah, no pressure. Item number 2 is I just wanted to just make this statement that Halloween on October 31st, something that ends up being great in our community with lights throughout in one of our neighborhoods. It became a little bit challenging. I want to let you all know that we heard you. I've received all the text messages and all those comments, and I'm sure city management and will be working appropriately to make those changes and to better the events that in the future that will need it to happen. With that, I close my public comments. Item number 11, our closed executive session. The time is 9:49 p.m. And City Council will now go into a closed executive session pursuant to Section 551.071 of the Texas Government Code. The time is 10:29 p.m. And the City Council now is back into regular session. Is there a motion?
Yes, Mayor. I'd like to make a motion that the city hire Warren Spencer as the attorney to handle Ethics Commission Complaint 23-02.
Okay, that's your motion?
Yes, sir.
All right, is there a second?
It's verbal.
Okay, second by Councilmember Emery. All right, so seeing no one else in the queue, let's go ahead and vote.
The motion carries 6-1.
Okay. All right, no other items. We're going to go ahead and adjourn this meeting at 10:30 p.m. Thank you all.
Good morning, everybody.